Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Wednesday, July 30th. Man, we're almost in August. Crazy to
Week 0.
see. Now it's starting to move slow. When it was in the 50s and 60s, I was kind of like, no, I'm not ready. Oh, I don't need that right now. And now it feels like it's creeping. And it's not a bad thing because I do need more time still to prepare and get ready and just not be on the move every second of every day. But it's going to be here before we know it. And one of those telltale signs, Greg, is that Alabama starts camp today. And there are a lot of questions that need to be answered, a lot of things that need to be accomplished. But if you were like, listen, we know the goal is the offensive line to get better, the quarterbacks to have a better understanding of getting the ball out on time, making their reads, running backs understand how to hit the hole, holding on to football, all that we get. But if you were to lay out, say, main goals for this team in camp, other than the let's just get better, more physical, whatever. Mm-hmm. But specific goals that you feel like have to be accomplished in this camp in order for Alabama to satisfy their fan base with the season coming up, what do you think those goals would be, or what would be at the top of that list of goals?
Establish who your quarterback is and lock it in without drama that permeates its way into the regular season. And I think that's ideal scenario. I mean, if you look, and you can get by with maybe changing course and altering direction at some point in the year because the guy that you selected in camp isn't ultimately the best guy for the job. That can happen. We've seen that happen before. We've seen it happen as early as week 3, and we've seen it happen as late as the halfway point of the national championship game. Like, we've seen that happen in a whole bunch of different time frames. But I think in a perfect world, if we're playing the odds, having a clear and established starter coming out of fall camp scrimmage 2, a guy that understands what his role and responsibility is within the offense. And that doesn't have to be a superstar. It just has to be a guy that knows exactly what's needed from him to go win games. And if Bama has that after week 2 scrimmage, you feel good. I don't know how it can be anything other than that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it's you think about some of the things, you take some of the things from last year, and the coverage, this new vision coverage defense, it operates in a different manner. I can tell you specific times that Roman and I were in studio on Mondays, and we would be watching some of the Alabama secondary, and he's like, no, safety's got to come here, take this. And I was like, well, I talked to Maurice Linquist about it, and that's not how they do it. And he was kind of dumbfounded, and then he would go find out later. He was like, you know what, you were right. That's that they handle things a little bit differently. You imagine that'll take a big leap this year.
Yes.
Or it should take a big leap this year of just the understanding conceptually of what that is. And that can obviously go a long way with how the defense can operate as well.
Yeah, I'd probably compare it to my first year in business school at Alabama. It's like in your first year in business school, you learn a lot, but it's very generic topics on the subject matter. You're taking OM 300, learning about operations management. You're taking finance 302, learning about entry-level finance. You're taking the marketing 300. You're taking management 300. You're taking the normal 300 level courses, which are really, really helpful because it gives you a wide grasp of everything that you might want to specialize in once you declare your major. Because once you get that 300 level grasp, all right, I've done a little management, done a little accounting, done a little statistics, done a little finance, done a little operations management. This is what kind of speaks to me. This is what I enjoy the most. So this is the path I'm going to pursue. That's kind of what it was like, I think, last year to an extent. They were in the 300 level courses. Now you're going to look at them getting into the 400 level courses where you're going deeper. I think you're going to get into the graduate level courses where the disguises are now premium and paramount, where some of the things that made Kane Womack such an impossible defensive coordinator to play against were his pre-snap disguises. They couldn't do that last year.
Right.
The guys had a hard time even playing just standard zone coverage. They ended up reverting more to a man style of attack defensively as the season went along. And Kane's like, forget about it. We're going to do what you guys were recruited to do, and that's play mono man. Let's go. And they still did some of the disguise stuff, and they still did some of the vision stuff, but it was, in watching them, as basic as I think I've ever seen Kane Womack's defense look. So I'll be curious to see where it goes. I'd be curious to see how deep down the rabbit hole they end up going, because I would imagine the capabilities of going there are much, much easier this year than it was a year ago.
All right, so Alabama on the practice field today. Others going to be there as well. We'll spend some time discussing what Alabama needs to accomplish. We'll ask the same question we did with Auburn yesterday, especially for those of you that tweeted into the show yesterday incessantly, when does Alabama start practice? Because we discussed Auburn yesterday because they started practice yesterday. Well, today is that day. You don't have to ask today because today's the day. So we'll talk about Alabama today.
Auburn plays Friday. Bama plays Saturday, just for the record.
Today's
That's why
your
they
day.
started a day early. They're not getting an advantage over us, guys. Don't worry.
They got an advantage on the show, though,
No,
Greg.
they
They
don't
got more
get an
time.
advantage over us. They're not getting one day better than us.
They got more time.
More time because they play sooner.
So we'll discuss mostly Alabama early in the show. Alex Scarborough covers Alabama. He'll be with us at 8 o'clock. 8:40, we'll have Joe Cook. Texas opens camp today. The ridiculousness with Arch Manning continues. As Jimmy Haslam was asked about potentially trying to navigate the waters to be able to draft Arch Manning. We haven't even started his first season as a starter. And an NFL owner is being asked if he is trying to manipulate things to draft someone that has not been his team's permanent starter yet. We're there. I wondered if SEC Media Days because that was a lot of the discussion and people like, oh, Texas Day, Arch coming. And then I saw the swarm of people that was kind of around him. I'm like, yeah, that's a little different. I was like, but Manziel was crazy. Tebow was crazy. Like we've had Philip Fulmer was crazy. Like the crowds around people and the attention. And then I saw it and I thought to myself, that's a little different. That might be a smidge much. And then now we've reached it. We're there. We're fully there. If you're going to ask that dumb of a question about a guy, he has ascended. We're there. We made it.
Well, is it surprising though?
Yes, it is. Because it's a dumb question.
But I'm not saying it's not, but are you surprised that people asked it?
I'm surprised he gave the answer he did.
I'm amazed.
Because I might have looked at the guy and said, you're not allowed to come here anymore.
Well, I think he probably does deep down in his heart of heart want one of the Mannings to be the quarterback of the Browns.
What if he throws 10 touchdowns and 42 picks this year? I mean, I probably wouldn't draft him. We don't know how it's going to go.
I drafted him before I drafted Shador in the 5th.
What about Dylan Gabriel?
Definitely before Dylan Gabriel.
But you don't know who else is going to be available.
Doesn't matter.
And
give me Manning.
Maybe the follow-up question.
I want to sell jerseys.
The follow-up question would have been there. But Mr. Haslam actually, what other quarterbacks after Arch are you targeting?
Yes.
In next year's draft?
What I think's amazing
in rounds 4, 5, and 6, who are you going to load up on later in the draft?
I love the people that say, "Oh, well, they're just drafting them so they can sell jerseys." That's a big money maker.
That's what
for the organizations.
that's what billionaires do.
The $450 million they get from the television deals has nothing to do with they barely stay in business on that. It's the jersey sales where they make like $4 million.
I had the numbers on that one day. It's not even that much.
No, they make nothing on jersey sales.
It's like less than 1% of their overall revenue as far as a team owner.
100% it is. But if you draft Manning, you'll get jersey sales.
I also used to have that for universities. Christy Dosh gave me that number a long time ago, because everybody said, "Oh, Manziel would be rich if he could get sales numbers off his jerseys."
Yeah,
and it's just, I mean, you've been in the NFL, you've seen it. I mean, nobody bought your jersey, but you had guys.
Actually did, believe it or not.
The one person at World Games.
Yeah, World Games, yeah.
It could have been 80% off.
All joking aside, it was
maybe.
kind of a tongue-in-cheek jersey purchase. Like a lot of Jets fans had my jersey. As bad as that may sound.
Brag about it.
I'm not. I didn't. I think I made $471 off jersey sales.
Well, and so she ran the numbers, and I think it was the year after Manziel won the Heisman. She's like, because of how you split it with the company that makes them, and then with the school and everything, he would have made like $17,000. But it was this astronomical. Like AJ Green came and sold his jersey. Johnny Manziel can't. It's just it's pennies compared to like what you're saying, TV revenue, seat licensing, other things that it's
yes,
sure it's a little bit, but that no one would make that kind of a decision.
No, it's literally pennies. They wouldn't even make their signing bonus back in jersey sales if they were the number one jersey in the league.
So Texas starts today. Austin Price will join us at 9 o'clock today as there's some news around Tennessee and they get going. We'll talk about the Vols being on the practice field today as well and what that's going to look like and kind of what some of the expectations are there. But let's continue with Alabama, 800-239-9569 if you want to get in this first hour before we begin to welcome in some of our beat writers that are going to talk to us about camp, what's happening, some of the news. What do you want to hear from Alabama? We'll kind of rinse and repeat this from Auburn a day ago. What would you be able to hear? What would you want to hear from people that you trust, Greg, about either how a position group, an individual player, like what would put your mind most at ease if you came out of this fall camp with Alabama and that was the message that you were getting about anything? Right tackle?
Yeah, if I'm removing quarterback completely, I would say right tackle is
just whoever it is
kind of high on the
solid
I'm just
camp.
not that concerned about it. Am I like losing my mind? I'm just not that concerned about it. Like I don't feel like it can be much worse than it was the last 2 years at right tackle. Like I think it's going to be fine. I probably am more concerned about, hey, who's my pass rush guy? Like, and I got to have it third down. Do I know for certain that Quay Rousseau has become that guy over the last 7 months? I got to have it get off the field, end the game third down. Who's my glass eater on the edge defensively?
Well, maybe even more important, who is the alternate to him? If he's either not healthy or not on the field, or just if you're playing a team with a good offensive line.
They have 4 guys that they all feel like could get after the quarterback. But I don't know if right now I can tell you for certain any of those guys is all SEC contender status. I'm hoping Rousseau is. I think he's got a chance to be, but in somewhat limited availability last year, you saw moments, but you tell me. I mean, you watch the pass rush moves better than I do.
No, you and I said it after it was a home game. It was South Florida.
Yeah, it was week 2.
It was a South Florida game. You and I both got on the show Monday morning and said that was what we needed to see.
Yeah.
And people were probably thinking,
got hurt against Wisconsin.
He didn't have 4 sacks. Like, he didn't destroy things. It's like, we saw the get off. Like, you saw the hand movement. You saw the twitch. It's like, that's the guy that they need there. And if they get that, they got a chance to be pretty sporty and be able to do some things. So, I think holding the point up front will be fine. Consistent disruption, I think can be more than adequate up front. But like you said, who are the guys on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10 that you're not going to have to overcommit to the bodies that are going to be pressuring the quarterback and you'll be able to get home more than not? I think Rousseau can be that guy for sure. And there's a couple of others that we heard last year were coming on and didn't really get there, didn't really become that. So we don't know what exactly it's going to look like.
The other thing I would say about that too is, like, I really believe, and maybe I'm crazy in thinking this, I think the growth that we're going to see in the secondary, I think they're going to have the best secondary in college football. I really think they have that level of potential. I really, really believe that. I think the advancement of what you'll see from the freshmen that contributed great things last year. I think Keon Sabb, when healthy, is a dude, absolute dude. Thing is, he played literally, of the games he played last year, I want to say 60% of them were with a broken foot, including chasing down a receiver against Tennessee with a broken foot. That is absolutely insane. The guy is tough as nails and is an absolute war daddy, and played the whole season last year on one leg and still was an impact player. Like, I think the secondary is super elite, super, super elite, best in the country potential. If you just have one guy that can get home in 3.5 seconds on a regular basis, they're going to force a lot of mistakes that are going to result in interceptions, tip balls, bad decisions. One guy up front to step up and dominate in the pass rush, and this defense will go from being, I think, a top 10 defense to a threat of being number 1 defense this season. But they got to find that guy.
I thought LT Overton exceeded my expectations last year. You were a little higher on him last year than I was. I thought there were some letdown moments at A&M.
Expectations.
Yeah, and I think, well, we talked about that so many times where every portal guy's the best because when you get them, and it's just like, oh, well, we got him, so he's great. I mean, I think we said this about 17 offensive linemen at Ole Miss the last 3 years. You know, it was just.
I did not think he was going to be at all a difference maker.
He wasn't special when I saw him, but I think I really like the potential of James Smith. I mean, he has some of the heaviest hands I've seen. I think he's got a potential to be sort of the guy that we're talking about from a disruption standpoint. And I think Latham's fine. I think he can be a really good player up front. And I think if you're B+ across the board with 6 or 7 guys instead of 3 or 4, you got a chance to be pretty good. Like how many A++ guys did Tennessee have on their D line last year?
1.
Really?
A++?
Yeah. I would have said none.
Well, I think James Pierce had the potential to be an A++.
Definitely had the potential to be. And I think him and what the attention that he took sometimes allowed the other guys to do some things. So that helped a lot. But you don't no one has A++ across the board anymore. Most teams don't even have a singular A++ defensive lineman right now. We've talked about this shortage for a while. So if Keenan can hold the point and Overton's solid and Smith is above average and Latham's pretty damn good, like you're going to be all right when you throw in a Rusall on the outside. And I think you can maybe take advantage of Justin Jefferson's speed at different points in time, allow him to be one of your pressure guys if you need to. So, and then like last year, whether it's, Yanze Pierre or one of the others that have sort of been coming on, maybe, a Keon Keeley who sort of fit in there and they're like the next guys, somebody's going to pop and somebody's going to show up. It's the same thing like you were saying with right tackle. Like when you were having that discussion a few minutes ago, I was thinking to myself, like, when's the last time any team, any position that we went in and we were concerned about one spot and it was just so bad that they almost couldn't overcome it and win games? Like these kids have still been practicing for 3-4 years, whatever it is. If it's a guy that hadn't started, like you're not going to put a turnstile out there. It's not going to happen. Now, you might not get Orlando Pace, but chances are it's not going to be a legitimate liability for the team.
No. I think you can coach around it too. Like I know that doesn't. I know you don't like hearing that, but if you have a liability along the offensive line, like guess what? You can coach around it.
You can help them.
Yes, you can help them. I've seen guys that don't even know what foot to put backwards in their 2-point stance, and yet they didn't give up any sacks in the game. You know why? Because your quarterback knows what he's doing. You actually have decent contributors at tight end and at running back to help that guy out, depending on which way they go. And there's certain schemes now in protection. If you got a super athletic center, your center can double up. Like I've seen guys this offseason and just some protection study stuff. Text them with some of my boys that have seen some unique things. Like centers are getting slabs now off tackles. Like it's crazy. Like you overset and all of a sudden the center's now popping to the right tackle. And the right tackle oversets, invites the inside rush, and the center cleans him up. You can do a bunch of cool stuff now. Now it gets a little creative from time to time, but another thing that has helped that right tackle out, committing to running the football. I mean, if that guy just goes flat back, pads low, and pushes guys off the ball, he's going to be 6'6", 330.
I'll just say this to back up with some of the things that you said. If you asked me right now, and you're in a situation like Alabama is in, and you said, give me one definitive in that position for the entire year that if you could have it, you would have it. Outside of health, it would be knowing where to go. Because I think not knowing where to go and MAs and busts are going to get you killed a lot faster than a guy that might not be a great player.
Yes.
I mean, you set outside for a linebacker and the defensive end's not picked up by the guard, and all of a sudden he's got a free run at my quarterback, and the quarterback's looking left. I don't need that. I can't live with that.
Exhibit A. Who won the Joe Moore Award 2 years ago?
Washington.
Why?
They didn't screw things up a lot of the time.
But they weren't really that talented.
They weren't talented.
Left tackle was a good player.
They played hard. They played really hard.
At the time was 270 pounds.
If that.
And he got picked on too. You watch it, and he battled, but he got picked on. He's undersized. He was really undersized. Now he's gained his weight. It's not no longer, a guy that can get dented inside. But the two guards went to Ole Miss last year. How was Ole Miss' offensive line?
It depends on who you ask.
Oh gosh, here we go. Ask their coaches. How was Ole Miss' offensive line? Underwhelming.
It wasn't very good.
Is the correct answer. So you have two guys off that, all of a sudden go from the Joe Moore Award-winning offensive line to an offensive line that is expected to take a huge stride. What happens? I don't think either one were starting the whole season because of performance, not because of injury. So, I think having an understanding of, all right, here's my job, here's my responsibility, let's work together can be really helpful. And that all starts with coaching. And I can tell you what I don't doubt is coaching quality on this staff.
But that was a little bit of an issue last year, too. At times with Jaden Roberts before he was injured, you would get a couple of those every now and then, and those are hard to overcome. You can't let those things creep in because that's going to get other guys out of the game in a hurry.
Yeah.
All right. To tell you quickly about Train, they're going to take care of this heat in a hurry. You know it's going to be here again. Actually going to cool down a little bit this weekend, but until then, it's going to be nasty. It's going to be hot. Don't let it affect you and your family. Keep the system. Recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jox. Find a comfort specialist near you at train.com. When we come back, we'll get to some of your feedback. 800-239-9569. Text in 205-8450. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. Listen online, joxfm.com. Of what do you need to hear, want to hear about Alabama's fall camp now that it begins today? Next on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 724, Wednesday, July 30th, right here on Jox. Tell your home smart speaker to an 800-239-9569. We'll get your take on Alabama starting practice today. What do you want to hear? What do you need to hear? What would put your mind at ease if there's a part of it that feels like it's heading in the right direction? If you're looking to get into a new home in Birmingham, Alabama, Central Alabama, there's only one name to call, Gusty Goulas Group. Brokered by eXp Realty, 205-542-1996. Go to GustyGoulasGroup.com. Better yet, Google Gusty Goulas Group. You're going to see over 850 five-star Google reviews. Most agents are going to start marketing after you list with them. Gusty markets long before he meets a potential seller. And because he's served more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the Birmingham area, they know what real estate's becoming available. They know what it needs to cost and how to get rid of yours. They know who to contact to get all those people to come look at your home. They've helped members of my family. I know they can help you. Call 205-542-1996 today or go to GustyGoulasGroup.com and start packing. Damian, what would that be for you when we ask the question of this part of Alabama's practice needs to go well to give you the confidence that they're in the playoff and can maybe make a playoff run?
I think it's the quarterback position. I'm kind of with Greg. It's whoever is the number one guy, remove all doubt. Let's go with it. Like this, don't have the whole, Blake Barnett, Cooper Bateman, Jalen Hurts situation. No, this is our guy that we're rolling with. And that answer needs to be that question needs to be answered by week 1.
Problem with that, Greg, is you can't force that. Somebody has to take that. Am I right?
Yes.
I mean, you can't fabricate it. I mean, you don't think Coach Saban would have wanted those years to know who name the starter to the team at least 2 weeks before the first game? I mean,
100%. No, you don't do it because it's convenient. You do it because it's the right thing to do because the guy earned it. I mean, that's as simple as that. What happened 2 years ago when Milroe ultimately became the guy was not what you're looking for. It's like no one seized it. You're sitting there kind of twisting in the wind like, okay, well, I guess we'll just go with the most experienced guy. Like, at least Jalen can run around. Like, he's got that extra gear. Like
7 days out, so we got to name a guy.
We have to. Like, all right, Jalen, you get the first crack at it. Like, go. You're up. And it goes okay. It's fine. Not great. And then you're like, all right, well, hey, guys, you just stay put here, like, because we're going to give you a shot here at some point in this season. You are going to get meaningful reps. Like, we promised Buckner that when you came from Notre Dame, you would get a fair chance. In my opinion, you got one in fall camp, but that's, I guess we don't define fair the same way, and life's not fair. I always tell my kids. So I 2 scrimmages and 21 practices. I guess that wasn't fair enough. So let's give him some time in the South Florida game. And Ty Simpson, the other guy that was in the competition, Ty kind of couldn't get out of his own way at that time. He was a guy that would make a mistake, and that mistake would fester. He was young. He's a redshirt freshman. Like that, guess what? Raise your hand if you were a little bit insecure as a redshirt freshman. Yep, same. Yep, my hand's raised.
Just a smidge.
I mean, for sure. I mean, not everybody's ready to be that alpha dog at 19. You're just not. It'd be great if you were. If they made him all like Cam Ward, we'd be in a great spot.
He obviously wasn't in 19 either.
He was. No, he was. He's just at a smaller school. I think
his high school head coach actually ran triple option too, so that we might put that on.
That doesn't help, yeah. Good scheme. But he just wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to go do it yet. He was the most talented guy. Staff will tell you that. From 2 years ago. But he wasn't ready to go be that guy. He'd let mistakes fester. He'd try to do too much. As a result, it would lead to more mistakes, and all of a sudden, he just kind of couldn't get out of his own way. Couldn't kind of snap out of it when bad things started to happen. So hopefully he's in position now to have a little bit better mental headspace to kind of go into a camp where you're going to make some mistakes. Guess what? This team forced 28 turnovers last year. The defense you're playing against is one of the most challenging defenses that you'll play all season long, especially in the secondary. They're going to get their hands on balls and they're going to make picks. So if you throw a pick, guess what? Hey, it happens. Everyone else you play this year, because this team averages, 2.2 turnovers a game. Like every team you play this year is probably not going to force as many turnovers this team will. So hang in there, keep fighting, let's rip.
Yep. Let's go to Hastings on the Higginbotham hotline. Wants to talk Bama camp. Welcome in, Hastings.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Greg, you all right, man? You talked a lot of shop on the offensive line segment. Blink twice.
Dude, I had an amazing night last night in Panama City. Not for spring breakers or anything.
Spinnaker?
No. I went and spoke at Highland Park Baptist Church. Amazing. 148 kids were saved last night. I'm like rolling in last night at 2 a.m, sky high. Like, think I'm going to be exhausted, like rolling, like I couldn't be more fired up. Like, it was amazing. But I'm operating on 3 hours and 58 minutes of sleep, according to my Whoop, and that feels generous.
Whoop, whoop.
So it's a bit of a struggle bus today. So if I veer down the offensive line rabbit hole, it's purely because I'm sleep deprived.
Okay, well, I guess it was for a very noble cause.
It's amazing. It was amazing. Worth every second.
I just wanted to make sure that Cole wasn't holding you hostage or anything. But hey, by the way, Wilkins Formby, is that who we're assuming is the right tackle?
I think he'll get the first crack at it.
Okay. Yeah, I feel pretty good about the line just because across the board. But my big thing with this team is mentality. In comparison to last year, where I think you had a lot of individuals who were very, very me-oriented, and quarterback was a big portion of that. I felt like Jalen was very, very high with the highs, very, very low with the lows, and I would like to see this team very even kill from a leadership position. And what concerns me is the quarterback mentality, because I think when you see this, and Greg, you saw this too at the Jets, even with Mark Sanchez. Once a quarterback is benched and the other player comes in and Auburn fans can relate with Hank Brown and the Peyton Thorne situation, I'm just concerned that it's not going to be a talent issue. I'm just concerned with an individual like Keelan Russell. If Ty can have the season that Mac Jones did with Bryce Young in the back, kind of looking over his shoulder, being that next guy, and with him not coming out and winning it in spring, but them rather being, and Damian can hit on this earlier, but him being just the guy that you guys are saying comes in because he's got the most experience is my largest concern. And a lot of that has to do with the mentality. And I'm just curious if you think that if at what point in the season you and say, hey, Ty can get us there, or we need to go to Keelan, and is quarterback, is it that important? Because I feel like and I'm saying this, it's very important, yes. But can this team win with multiple pieces at quarterback if they can just make the right decision and not mess up because of the talent that's around it? And just what do you guys think about the mentality of Ty going in that's creeping over his shoulder and if he's going to be able to perform? So I'll hang up, listen, appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.
We mentioned it all the time, Hastings, operator of the offense. And people take game manager and put negative slander on it and try to make it a negative. I don't really use that phrase. I use operator of the offense. And if you know what plays to get in, what protections to get to, where the ball needs to go, and can let go of it on time to get there, I don't think you need to have Randall Cunningham's skill. I mean, you can just be. I mean, physically, from a talent perspective, you can just be a guy. But if you make elite decisions and you can be ahead of the defense, Greg, it can give you 10 times the advantages that running a 4-2 or throwing the ball 85 yards in the air can.
I think if you can just be this is kind of a unique phrase that I've come up with over the years, and it probably started, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. I think probably going into 2016. It's like we're trying to figure out who the quarterback's going to be. Is it going to be the guy that transferred 7 times, or Jalen Hurts, or Cooper Bateman, or whoever it ended up being? All I need to know as a coach is what I'm going to get every Saturday. And if that is a QBR of 75 and you're going to give me 2 touchdowns and then every other game you're going to have an interception. So at the end of the day, you're going to have some type of, some like a 22 to 7 touchdown interception ratio. If I know I'm going to get about 215, 220 yards on the ground, throwing it out of you, that's great. You make a couple plays with your legs, that's great. Like, I think back a little bit to what Nico Iamaleava was last year for Tennessee. Like, for all of his flaws on missing deep balls, and there were several that he missed throughout the year, at least you knew what you were going to kind of get with Nico every week. Like, he was going to run around and make a couple plays. He was going to miss a few deep balls. He wasn't going to take unnecessary risks with the football and try to force it into tight windows. He was going to hand it off and do what he needed to do in the run game. Like, all I want to do is have predictable production. Because if 1 week you're capable of running for 210 yards, throwing for 300, and accounting for 6 touchdowns against one of the best defenses in America, and that's what I get on your best day, and your worst day you play like you played against Oklahoma, I can't coach that. Because if I'm anticipating this performance from you, even if it's like a mean performance, like somewhere in the middle of those 2 performances, like, all I want to know is exactly what I'm going to get. Even if you're a liability, even if you're a guy that throws 12 touchdowns against 6 interceptions, I can coach around that if you're the same guy every week. I think it's really hard when you have a quarterback that is so high with the highs and so low with the lows, because then I can't put the plan in place to make sure that you either don't get us beat or go win us games. I just think that's so hard to coach around. So all I want from the quarterback this year, whether it's Ty, Austin, or Keelan, give me predictable production. if I know what from you every week, if I know the guy I'm going to get from you on the field every week, I can coach around your skill set. I can coach around your flaws. I can coach around your attributes, and I can coach around your worst attributes, as long as you're the same every week and I know what to expect.
I love that. And it solves so many problems. It helps with so much. Taylor, stick on hold. We'll get to you right with Alabama opening camp today, next on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 7:39, Wednesday, July 30th, right here on Jox, joxfm.com. You can listen on the app in your App Store, iPhone, and each and every day search WJOX 945. Before we continue on Alabama camp and discussing it, tell us about Shannara Flooring.
Well, Fu and his guys do an amazing job. I'm always grateful to the professionalism and the inventory that they have in stock. 40,000 square feet of CoreTech flooring in stock by Shaw. It's that durable, dependable, waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof flooring that can add value to your home or business. And right now, that CoreTech flooring is $10 off per box. That's a boatload of savings that you can have if you order that CoreTech flooring by Shaw from Shannara Flooring. You also have 12 months financing that's available as well. So go and check out Shannara Flooring by going to fooandyou.com.
All right, Taylor, patient on hold during the break, wants to talk Alabama camp opening today. You're on the Higginbotham Hotline. Taylor, welcome in.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. Really enjoy the show. And there's two things I wanted to hit on real quick. One, Cole, you mentioned yesterday it was like the take-home food and what you get between the store and where you're going. An impressive thing in college was one of my teammates was a Little Caesars hot and ready pizza. He could devour that in about
the whole
10
thing.
Between the whole thing.
It's amazing.
That was a staple of early college, by the way. It was right down the street from the facility. Snag one of those. I could maybe get 2 slices down before I had a quick grease heartburn attack, and I'd have to finish it at home. To eat the whole thing is remarkably impressive.
Yeah, he was an impressive eater. It was, college offensive lineman, as Cole knows, it can go down pretty quick.
They almost do it
Absolutely.
for sport.
Yeah, it is its own sport. But also then, Mac, like the one thing I wanted to highlight was the 148 kids that received Jesus last night, man. Above all else, like y'all do great work, but that's the number one thing. So praise God for that.
Amazing. God is good.
God. Yep. Y'all have a great day.
Thank
Appreciate
you, buddy.
it.
Appreciate it. Yeah, really special night last night in Panama City for sure. Awesome. Speaking of Highland Park Baptist Church, really, really cool. A lot of high school kids getting ready to start practice, man. And I don't know how high school practice is nowadays. By the way, there's some good-looking kids in Panama City. Like, taking some pictures afterwards, meeting some kids, interacting or whatnot. High school kids nowadays?
I think it's. I mean, they're getting ready to do the things that are going to be necessary so much earlier and in so much more of a specific way than we ever thought was even possible.
I think just access to information too. Like when you would work out in high school, what was your workout regimen?
Me personally, or like the team?
I mean, I know you probably just went into the meat refrigerators and like boxed it like Rocky or something. Like, I don't know what you did, but like,
I wish I would have. My conditioning would have been a little better. I mean, I asked for a membership to Gold's Gym for Christmas, like my sophomore year. That's all I wanted.
That's wild.
I was dumb. Yeah,
that's amazing. Why didn't you just work out at your school?
I did, but I wanted to go do other stuff.
You wanted to do your biceps at Gold's?
Yeah, that was it.
I love that. I mean, that's amazing. But like our workouts were literally like, it was at 6 a.m. You'd go in before school.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah. Ours were Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You go in before school, you do your workout. All your boys are in there, you're cutting up like, you're listening to music. Like there's no coaches there. The linebacker coach writes the workout on the board and it's like, we haven't done cleans this week. All right, so you do some cleans. What else haven't we done? You know what? We haven't done box jumps. Let's do some box jumps. Like there was no scientific evidence. Now you got YouTube. It's giving you all these incredible
jumps.
workouts.
We weren't doing
These
box
kids are
jumps in
just
my day. No
box jumps.
It was the same workout almost. Like
could you do it right now from memory?
I could get pretty close because it was you had bench day, you had Olympic lift day, and you had squat day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you had the ancillary workouts around it, and then we did conditioning after. And you go to Homewood High School right now. You have South Lake Shore that goes both directions. You can't get to the high school from, I guess that would be the northern side or western side. But if you go the other way, we like down to the church, Covenant Baptist, we would run down there and back after we worked out.
Oh,
now, if you've been on that road, it's woods on both sides. So I had another teammate, Chris Benton, was an offensive lineman with me. We were like two of the biggest guys on the team, and we would always kind of lag behind, and we would duck into the woods, and everybody would come running back, and then we would lob in behind.
That's about right.
Came.
That checks out.
I wasn't a big conditioning guy.
No. Did you go over the river?
I think sometimes Coach Newton knew I was doing that too, and he was just like, as long as he brings it in practice, I really don't
That's all
care
that matters.
if he's
not a big conditioning
running
guy.
this damn marathon
shocker.
we run.
Save that clip.
However, the one difference was like Bob Newton became my head coach going into my senior year. He was in the weight room with us every day.
Really?
The whole time.
Grinding?
And he'd be over in the corner doing curls.
Yeah.
Come on, Cubelic.
Get your pump.
And he'd be he didn't take that approach.
Get you a pump.
Get your pump. Get the defensive lineman scared. Kickoff in 4 minutes and 11 seconds.
No, I mean, our workouts are literally the exact same every day. We do like straight arm back extensions.
Yeah,
like,
but
let's get some back today, boys.
But you added 10 or 5 pounds every week. So it was like 3 by 15 bench or 3 by 8 bench. And then it was, 225 next week, 3 by 8 bench, 235. The next
100%.
week, 3 by 8 bench, 255. It wasn't hard.
Funniest thing, like the kids on the team, like everyone had like the one lift they were great at. And like we would all just center around Adam Powers when he was squatting. He was like a sawed off typical D tackle, 5'9", 260, with 400 on his back on a Friday before he play. It's like, all right, that's absurd. You know what I mean? Like I was a clean guy. You had guys that are throwing weight around on the bench that are, 5'8", 230 with arms that are 24 inches. Had to do is stretch it out. Like, our lifts were the most inefficient things because all you did was like gather around your boys when they're doing their lift, like, let's go. And, it's just so ridiculous. Like, but these kids now, man, they're jacked. I mean, they're put together.
There is. Robbie, hang tight. We'll get you on the other side. Give you the most insane thing that I saw in a high school weight room right after this on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 7:50, Wednesday, July 30th. Jox 94.5. Watch live on YouTube. Search WJOX 239-9569. You want to get in. Our conversation on Alabama's fall camp turned into all discussions around football fall camps, where Robbie wants to chime in on today's high school kids. Welcome into the show, Robbie.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Just to comment, well, first, like in high school, I went to a small private school, mid-2000s, and, I mean, our workouts, it was literally a sheet of paper, and the coach was just like, all right, get after it. There's not much organization, even like thought really probably behind the workouts themselves. So that was really bad. And so, but my dad, going from my sophomore to my junior year, he hired me a personal trainer that had also played at UNA, and dude, he just changed my game. Like from going from my sophomore to junior year, I just became a completely different player. But high school players now, man, like you said, Greg, like just with all the information they have, and I was a junkie. Like I was looking at like remember the old Bama magazines, man? Like I was buying every magazine that might give me an edge, to be a better player. And I was like pre-YouTube, man, like those old what was it? What was the high school that Reggie Bush went to? Started with an L, but anyway, he just watching his highlights. Somehow to and it's just ridiculous how much they have now. Just to get the mental edge, and then take it onto the field. So. If I ever talk to a high school kid or even a college player now, my biggest advice to them to earn better is hitting the ropes, or now they have the ladder, obviously.
Yeah.
We didn't have the ladder. I was in high school. We had the ropes or tires, so which was also two great things. I mean, would y'all agree with that? That footwork, I mean, with, lineman, quarterback, receiver, DB, I mean, footwork, particularly at a young age. Would y'all agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, for quarterback, it was always big. Like, we always did ladder drills. Receivers always did ladder drills, but I think it's applicable all over the place now. The other thing, if I were a quarterback, I would do ball handling drills like crazy. Like, if I could go back and do it all over again, like, I would jump rope like a wild man, be light on my feet, be faster, have quicker twitch in my lower half, like lower half. And then I would do ball handling drills so my grip could be stronger. That would be like the two things. If I could go back and do it over again, I'd do it. But unfortunately, I didn't think those things helped you back then. If I just throw darts, it'll work. Like, yeah, not wise. When you get up to the show, like, yeah, does help to have other attributes that can be contributable. So, no, I think it's good stuff.
Sure. Well, I appreciate it.
Thanks for the call.
Man. Yeah, have a good one.
It was Helix High School in La Mesa, California, which I'd be willing to bet today he probably wouldn't be playing there.
IMG?
Did you see Bobby Bentley's tweet this morning?
No.
No, what happened?
It was a screenshot of a coach from IMG that was DMing one of his players.
The old Cruton thing. Makes sense.
I just love that he called him out. And he said, the best part was, he said, no, my guy's an Ivy League guy. He doesn't need to go to your online school. I was like, that's fantastic, by the way. I don't know, but then there's a part too that where I see, I think it's more in like soccer than football. You see these like 6 or 7 year olds that are doing on these ladder drills, and you're like, is that too early? I mean,
I don't know,
like, if you've mastered the ladder at 8, are you ever going to get better?
It's kind of like muscle memory. Like, that's the only problem with the ladder is I feel like once you can get good at like the icky and all this other stuff, it's like I can do the ladder as fast as anybody that's my size and comparable athleticism, but it didn't make me like have great feet. You know what I mean? Like, it just made me good at the ladder. So I can understand like where you're saying when you start doing it when you're 6'7", but I don't know. I've always felt like some of the most athletic guys that I played with, in high school mostly, because in college you transcend, but they all had like a soccer background.
Yeah,
where they just learned how to run.
I just think like body control.
Yeah,
number one is what I would like. If you can escape some of your inherent clumsiness earlier, that allows you to become better at other things. And I don't really know what the answer to that is necessarily, but like, we had guys that would go out there through the ladder and like couldn't catch a ball.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
Congrats. You beat me on, the 2-step reverse back through the ladder, but
yeah, can
we get a first down?
Yeah.
Yes.
Running out, or a DB who's like, well, I'd rather you cover the guy. Which we have failed at multiple times in the last few games. But if you could just stay in front of the receiver, it'd be fantastic. If you could just beat the tackle off the ball, it'd be a lot cooler than the 2-step ladder thing in 2.2 seconds. But hey, fun is fun. I don't know. There is no one answer to it. There's not.
There isn't.
It's just like we had track guys that were literally qualifying for the Olympics come out and try to play receiver. Big part of it's catching the football.
A little different skill set.
And there were a couple of those track guys and one basketball guy, when they came out and were asked to catch the football and saw like Martavius Houston coming. No, sir.
Got to be.
You know what they don't have in track? 220-pound safeties running out.
You look at all these cats running the 100 now. They're all about 210. Absolutely shred. shred dogs, like absolutely jacked.
It's different when those pads are on and somebody's about to take your head off.
Ain't that the truth?
Back with more next. Hour number 2, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 8 a.m. Hour number 2, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 8 a.m. right here on Jox. Before we talk Alabama camp, I do want you guys to remember that there is one place in town that can make it extremely easy to purchase a new vehicle. It's Royal Automotive. For over 50 years, my friends at Royal have been making our friends and neighbors experience our car buying should be. 4 dealerships, 1 destination, unmatched selection and savings. Royal Buick GMC, Royal Volkswagen, Royal Automart, Volvo Cars of Vestavia Hills, all at the corner of I-65 and Highway 31 of Vestavia. From sales to service, the team at Royal can help you find that new ride and keep you rolling. When it's time to start searching for your next vehicle, all 4 stores in one location means you can get behind the wheel for a test drive without driving all over town. And when they say 4 every ride, there's Royal, they mean it. If you're shopping for that very first ride or your dream ride, go see my friends at Royal. Royal Buick GMC, Royal Volkswagen, Royal Automart, Volvo Cars of Vestavia Hills, all at the corner of I-65 and Highway 31 of Vestavia. RoyalAutomotive.net. Let's go to the Higginbotham hotline now. Welcome in Alex Scarborough. Continue discussing, breaking down Alabama's fall camp. Alex, we said earlier in the show, kind of asked each other the question, if you could be guaranteed that it was accurate, what's one thing, one thought you would want coming out of Alabama camp that would sort of put your mind at ease about how good this team is going to be this fall? What would that be?
I hate to be that guy, and I wanted. This is a guy I think a lot of his ability. Would have been able to take it. The thing that Austin as the starting quarter. I think the rest of the line they have on a lot of things with question mark. Man for the kind of season.
What is that gap between Ty? Is that leash
significant? Last step on Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. I think Keelan in particular should make pretty significant strides after getting his feet wet in the spring as an early enrollee. But I think Ty, with his experience, the time in the program, and what he brings to the table and skill set, he should be the guy. He's just got to go out and do it now.
We're visiting with Alex Scarborough, discussing Alabama's camp. We discussed the right tackle spot a little bit earlier as well. What's your level of concern? Who has the upper hand? How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, I think it's Will Conformby's job to lose, and I think it's pretty definitively his job at this point. How concerned am I? Maybe not as much as some folks who I think are a little hung up on that South Florida game. And look, he did not play well. He would tell you that. Everyone in the building would tell you that. But if you look at what he did the rest of the season, remember he was a redshirt freshman. I think people get lost in that a year ago. He improved, and he played quite a bit. And if you look at the advanced numbers in terms of the rate of pressure he allowed, he was allowing a lesser rate of pressure than Elijah Pritchett was as the starting right tackle. So I think there should be a level of confidence that this guy going into his third year in the program, with the level of strides he made in the back half of last season, the way he appears to have transformed his body and gotten a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. He's not a sure thing. I'm not going to sit here and say that. But I think with what else they have on the offensive line, in particular, those three starters, Parker Brailsford, Jaden Roberts, and Caden Proctor, you can feel good about, look, if Wilkins not an All-American, they can still be pretty good. And I think he's on track to play at a pretty high level. I think he can be a consistent starter for this team.
What about the rest of the offensive line? Naturally, Jaden Roberts last year came in with high hopes, had maybe a slightly disappointing year, I think large part due to injury. Center's great. Feel good about left tackle. What about left guard? What are you thinking about that matchup right now when it comes to that competition?
I'm telling you, people are sleeping on Geno Vandemark. I've been saying this since last season ended and they brought in Cam Dewberry, and I understand what Cam brings to the table. A very talented guy, came over from Texas A&M, big and strong, and even lost some weight after coming into the program at Alabama, has been doing all the right things, and I know he has NFL potential. But I'm telling you, Geno Vandemark just plays football at a really high level. He's tough. He's competitive. He brings an IQ to the game as well, as a guy who can play center in addition to playing guard. And there's clearly a level of trust. That's why he played so much last year, is really the sixth offensive lineman. When Parker had to go out, he was the first one. And when Jaden had to go out, and that was pretty frequently, he went in and there wasn't much of a drop-off. So it's a competition, but I think it's a good competition. I think people shouldn't rule out Geno Vandemark. And if for some reason Cam Dewberry does beat him out, I think that says more about Cam than it says about anything else. So I know a lot of times we talk about like the quarterback position. If you have two, you don't have one. I think as it relates to the guard spot, I think they can feel pretty good about both of those guys. And I'm very curious to see what that competition looks like, how long it lasts, and if perhaps it goes into the season. Because as Kalen DeBoer said, in Atlanta, they're playing with 6 offensive linemen. And I think that's a pretty clear indication that it's those 2 guards that are still battling it out. And I like either one of them coming out, but You can count me in the Geno Vandermark camp. He just plays a really good level of football, and he does it the right way, and I think he brings something else to the table.
That's a great point. Alex Scarborough joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. There were folks that were really down on the other guys in front of him, but I kind of thought he looked good when he played last year. And I remember asking Kalen on the field before the Vanderbilt game, I was like, Vandermark, can you kind of clarify what's going on there? And he's like, he's just earned it. Like, we love what he see from him in practice. He's has nothing to do with the other guy. It's just he's been outperforming our expectations, and he deserves some playing time. So that's why we're rolling him in a little bit. And he did some good things last year. So I think he's absolutely somebody who can help this Alabama football team. What do you need to hear, want to learn defensively? Is there something that you want to hear about the secondary mentally, the disruption up front with the defensive line? Like, what do you feel like your main question that needs to be answered for Alabama on that side of the ball is in this fall camp?
I'm certainly curious about the secondary because they have so many good pieces, and I just picture Kane Womack in like that scene in Beautiful Mind trying to figure out where all of these pieces fit because you want to get them all on the football field. But the concern for me is where's the pass rush? Where's the disruptive part of this defense? Because Kane was having to do it with smoke and mirrors last year. Jahad Campbell was probably their most effective guy off the edge, LT Overton as well. 39 pressures for LT, only 2 sacks. He's got to close that gap. You can feel confident that he should because statistically, it's probably not going to end up the same way where you just get to the quarterback but don't bring him down. But they need more guys. They need more guys who can win one-on-one battles. And there's a lot of optimism about Akwe Russo. I think he's got everything in terms of traits, athleticism that suggests he should be able to be a guy who can get after the quarterback. James Smith on the interior side, he, despite being that third defensive tackle, played quite a bit and was a little twitchier than some of those other guys. Maybe he can become that guy. But whoever it is, Noah Carter, Keon Keeley, whoever it is, somebody's got to get to the quarterback because that can't be a thing where Kane has to blitz all the time. As good as this secondary can be, and it can be really freaking good, you've got to have guys who can win one-on-one battles and make the quarterback uncomfortable. And quite frankly, that just was not happening enough last year.
Is there a possibility that there's a freshman that we're not really talking about that could end up contributing massive minutes? Like I look maybe at the tight end position. Kalen DeBoer, when he was with us, he referenced a couple of those freshmen at tight end that might be able to get on the field early, like a Marshall Pritchett. Obviously, Keelan Russell, everyone wants to see him, but is there a guy that's kind of flying under the radar a bit that might ultimately find his way into the rotation at any of these positions?
Yeah, I think tight end is an interesting position because you lose both C.J. Dupree and Robbie Oots there, and they were just so reliable for you a year ago. And Cuevas is coming off an injury. A bunch of guys are coming off injuries. It's just wide open. So whether you're talking about a Marshall Pritchett, who himself is also coming off an injury, not to sound like a broken record, or even can a Caleb Edwards, not an early enrollee, a summer enrollee, a really talented guy, basketball player, got that frame and athleticism, can he come in and give you something a little bit different at that position? Ultimately, I think we might see a little bit less 2 tight ends out of Alabama this year because of what they don't have coming back at tight end and what they do have at receiver by bringing in an Isaiah Horton with what you hear about Rico Scott. Interesting, there's some guys to meet, but Latsier Brooks is another one where I just go, what he does in terms of his quick twitch, his short area burst, the way he can just go up and get the football. I don't want to get too carried away with a true freshman receiver, especially considering all the depth they have there. But I just think they're going to have to find ways to get that guy on the football field, whether it is as a 4th or 5th receiver or whether it is in the return game. I think he's a guy who I think we're going to hear his name called pretty frequently.
Visiting with Alex Scarborough on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking Alabama fall camp set to begin today. Anything from a strategy perspective with Grubb back that you feel like we will learn, we need to hear, we're going to hear, that could change people's opinion on this team heading into the opener?
I think all you have to do is talk to Ryan Grubb about football, and you understand there is a level of aggressiveness and just wanting to play football a certain way. he likes to throw the football around. Nobody's going to get confused about that. The numbers indicate that. That's what happened with the Seahawks. I think that's why there was a little bit of a disagreement with the head coach there. But I think the style of running the football, the way he wants to win the line of scrimmage, the way he wants to run the ball between the tackles, all of those things are there that I think last year were missing. And I don't know how much of that was Ryan Grubb versus Nick Sheridan, or whether it was just, look, at the end of the day, we got to play to our strengths, and our strength is getting Jalen Milroe out in space and letting him do his thing, because when he was on with that, he was the best football player in the planet. But the running game wasn't there. Now, they want to do that philosophically. Do they have the guys to do that at the running back position? Jam Miller is a guy who's been in the program for a long time, really reliable, dependable guy. But who else is going to step up there? Can Richard Young be that guy, big bruising type of back? Can Daniel Hill, a young guy who's really big as well, and coaches really like what they saw out of him in the spring, can he bring something different to the table? Somebody else has got to step up, because you can feel confident in what you have from Jam Miller, but you need more dudes at that position in order to have the kind of offense that I think Ryan Grubb wants to have, which is all of these receivers throwing the football around. But at the heart of it, remember Washington a few years ago, was a bell cow running back in Dillon Johnson who was going to run the ball between the tackles and really punish a defense. If they can bring that to the table, I think they can go a long way in having the balance they need to be a really successful offense.
I love everything you're saying right now, and don't sleep on Dre Washington either. I know Cole and I kind of peeked his tape. Cole likes him a little better than I do, but there might be some characteristics there at running back that can be attributed to having some contributions this year for sure. Finally, of the transfer portal guys, it'd be easy to say Isaiah Horton, so I'll kind of force you to go a different direction there. Kelby Collins, Hill Green at linebacker, Calhoun. Of the transfer portal guys that are coming in, who do you think's in the best position to contribute to this team winning and losing games?
I think early on it might be Nakai Hill-Green, just because we've got to see where Deontay Lawson is at. Not just physically, right? Coming back from an injury like that, he might be 100% right now, but it's mentally trusting what you have and just getting back up to the speed of the game. I think he's going to play quite a bit. They played a lot, 3 different inside linebackers a year ago. Justin Jefferson was that guy. I think Hill-Green could be that guy as well. The guy I think people are sleeping on a little bit is Cam Calhoun. I don't think people quite understand, maybe in this part of the world, how good of defense Utah plays every single freaking year. So he's coming from a system where he knows how to play the game of football, played 12 games the last 2 years, really talented guy. And you talk to players and the playmaking ability, but also the confidence, the chirpiness he brings to that unit. I don't know exactly where he fits. If he's the third cornerback, if he's the fourth cornerback, if he's the second Husky, where they put him on the football field, I think he's just a guy that I think people have forgotten a little bit since he committed to Alabama and joined the program, that I just think it might be a matter of time before he's on the football field, because I just like what I hear about what he has. But you're right. Isaiah Horton's clearly the guy. Kelby Collins, I just don't know where he fits necessarily at this point, because he's an inside-out kind of guy, where he falls in the rotation. But Calhoun is one to me that I think, as much as people want to talk about Dijon Lee as being the guy as a true freshman coming in and pushing for playing time in that secondary, I think Calhoun is in that conversation as well.
Alex, great stuff. Appreciate the time helping us break down Alabama camp. You gave great information, great insight. We always appreciate your visits and look forward to doing it again soon.
All right. No problem, fellas.
There you go. Alex Scarborough covers Alabama and gave us his thoughts there on fall camp. More of your insight, more of what you're looking for, more of other teams that are beginning fall camp. Hey, before we get to those, Greg, tell us about Bromberg's.
Well, Bromberg's is my go-to, has been for years. When you look at everything that Bromberg's put together, it's hard to get past the experience that you have when you walk in the door. It's hard to get past the level of quality that you're going to get from the sales staff, the information that you get from the sales staff, the full understanding of what it is you are wanting out of the experience of buying something that might be in your family for multiple generations. That's why I only shop at Bromberg's. It's the only place I've been since we've been back. And while I might not know the marketplace that well at all, I do know that when I walk in Bromberg's, I have never had an experience that was at all disappointing. It's just an elevated experience, one that I will always greatly appreciate, and one that I will continue to go to for as long as I'm above ground. I'll be shopping at Bromberg's, that's for sure. So go and check them out. You can look them up at brombergs.com. You can also go and see them in their stores at Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit.
All right, we'll talk more fall camp around the SEC, around college football when we return right here on Jox. .821 Wednesday, July 30th, right here on Jox 94.5. Go to your app store, search WJOX, and you can listen there every day. It'll direct you to the YouTube where you can watch the show. Get all your podcasts as well. You can check some of those out. Arizona gets going today. Arizona State gets going today. Be interesting to hear some of the things coming out of that camp with what's returning offensively there for Kenny Dillingham. Boston College goes today. BYU going today. Quarterback, I think, will probably be biggest question mark for the Cougars here
By
through
far.
fall camp and how that situation is going to play out. Florida goes today, and we had a conversation yesterday about the Gators, but Lagway going to be in a boot, Greg, and it goes back to kind of something you brought up that I don't feel like I had sort of thought about it this way, and that's that, all right, it's a reoccurring situation now, even though it's not the same thing.
Right.
But you don't like to see a guy of that importance that's, nicked up here, nicked up there, miss a few practices here, miss a game there. You don't want this to become a trend for DJ Lagway.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately, we've seen it, right? I mean, not just the shoulder injury coming out of high school and having the surgery this past off season, but the hamstring injury against Georgia where he's carted off the field. You'd think it's something really, really significant. Now in a boot, the shoulder. It's I mean 3-4 fairly significant injuries that we've now seen from a guy that's got all the potential in the world to take this program to the next level. So I hope he gets back to 100%, and I hope this doesn't continue to become a trend, because it'd be a real shame in college football for us not to see DJ Lagway at his very best for multiple years. And hoping that that's not the case going into this season.
No, I would agree. We'll find out what the latest is with him later after Florida gets off the practice field and see what that situation is. Indiana hitting the practice field today, obviously coming off of a playoff appearance. There are not a lot of people, Greg, that look at this team and think that they can even make a similar run, or they can be back close to where they were a year ago. Schedule's not going to be too much different. You have a lot more transfers coming in again, but they proved last year that they can do it. I think Fernando Mendoza's great.
Really good.
I think he's tough. I think he's accurate. And
he's mobile, unlike their guy last year, who I really liked their guy last year with what he did, but he can move.
You go get Holden Stace, tight end, that's been at a couple of schools now from Tennessee. I think going to be able to help you physically up front. Pat Coogan from Notre Dame, who we absolutely love. Most likely going to be their starting center. I mean, they've added some nice pieces. So to think that this thing's just going to go away, I think it's foolish if nobody thinks that Indiana's not going to be a handful again this year.
They're going to be back. I mean, I don't know if they'll make the playoff, but they're going to probably be 10-2, 9-3. I mean, I think it's really, really significant when you look at what Indiana accomplished last year. There are a few pieces to replace on defense. Especially up front. They lose 3 guys that were legitimate difference makers, including D-tackle TJ West, who I loved. But they've done a good job of kind of going through it, and they have an interesting system defensively that's going to create movement and challenges for the offense. They have legitimate All-American contenders at all 3 levels. Mikhail Kamara's back on the end of the line of scrimmage as a pass rusher. You got their leading tackler back, guy that had like 130 tackles last year, and they got their top cornerback. So I also really like what you referenced the offensive line. Like, I think the offensive line's got a chance to be one of the better groups in the country if they could stay healthy across the board. You referenced the quarterback. I think their quarterback play could improve this year at the college level if Fernando Mendoza can add a little bit with the run game and a little bit with the mobility. You got your 2 wide receivers back. That's significant. I think anyone that is looking at this and saying, yep, last year was a fluke, I think they're going to find out that this group has a chance to actually, in some ways, be a little bit more difficult to play against than what we saw last year.
You go get a Roman Hemby from Maryland.
Good back.
A guy that obviously has found different ways to generate yards. Maybe, I don't want to say more explosive or more twitchy than what they've had, but they've got weapons. And you got a quarterback that has proven you give him a system where the ball needs to be out on time, pick you apart, he can do that because he's got that accuracy, quick release. I just think Indiana's going to be dangerous again. And I think they're now what they are versus that schedule versus what everybody else thinks they are versus other teams in the country, I don't know. But I think versus what they're going to play, they got a shot to be pretty damn good.
They got 10-2 in their crosshairs.
Yep.
I mean, tell me right now, all right? Old Dominion.
I feel like they got a shot to get that one.
All right. How about Kennesaw State?
Yeah.
Indiana State.
Yes.
Illinois at home.
It'll be a tough one.
One of the toughest on the schedule. At Iowa.
Difficult there.
I think Iowa's going to be okay. I don't love them. I just think they lost a lot on the defense side.
Well, they're next on my list because they open up camp today too, so we'll get to them in a moment.
Love it. At Oregon. Probably an L.
Most likely.
All right, Michigan State at home.
Which I would just – we asked this question, 3-4 weeks ago? And I said, when did Oregon become they're just there every year team?
When the NIL started?
Marcus Mariota.
All right, when have they just been, wiping the floor with everybody every year?
They won
Marcus
7
Mariota.
games last year in conference by 21 plus.
Against who?
I don't know. They had 2 tight games, Ohio State and Wisconsin. Everybody else beat to sleep. I get what you're saying, but with their access to resources and with their identity of blending physicality and athleticism, which is rare in that league, you usually choose one side or the other. I think they're going to be a problem annually.
But a problem to the point where we just say,
I don't feel great about.
Okay, let me ask it this way.
I don't feel great about a lot of teams going to Autzen and winning.
Let me ask it this way. So, right now, Ohio State, if you ask people nationally, give me 4 or 5 national title contenders, Ohio State. Why? Well, Ryan Tay, but they're off a national title. Okay, so it's just because it's Ohio State. Fine, we'll move on there. All right, but then
Jeremiah Smith.
But then you bring up Penn State. No, man, they got to get over the hump. I don't know.
They only have everybody.
Roster for roster, like
not close.
Proven commodities. Who you taking?
Penn State by a mile.
But we don't want to allow them to be in that mix.
They're
not there. Georgia. Same thing. Like they got a lot of issues, a lot of things we don't know about, but they're there. They're in. I ain't worried about quarterback. They'll figure it out. And I just kind of wonder, like, when did Oregon get to that? Like, we are treating Oregon like Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama. Take your pick of the others. Even Michigan had a little bit of a dip now. I mean, we're just treating Oregon like Dante Moore. Who cares? Throw him in there. He's next. Like, is Dylan Gabriel not one of the most productive college quarterbacks in 175 years of college football? I'm pretty sure he is. But
quarterback-friendly offense.
It's Oregon, man.
I think
they'll figure it out.
All right. So Captain, contrarian here. Where would you have Oregon ranked? Let me hang on. You could ask that question, all right? But I think a better way of approaching that conversation is I'll give you a list of teams. Who are you taking? Oregon or fill in the blank team? Ready?
That you are taking.
Here we go.
No,
hang on.
You're directing the conversation with different context because you're going to win your argument because of the lack of power at the top of the field right now.
Correct, which means Oregon has to be in that mix.
Fair when you're discussing it that way, but when you're discussing Indiana goes to Oregon, Oregon, you can't do that because they're not that good. They are good comparative to the top of the field right now, yes, because nobody you look at right now in this field and you say, you're not getting them. You're not. And I'll ask the question here, like, why is Clemson not ahead of the teams that we're talking about when we discuss them? For you and I, they are, but for everybody else, they're like, I don't know, man.
The ACC.
You can play in whatever conference you want, but there are certain points in time when I see the guys you have, and I think you can beat most other teams. Clemson's that team right now. I don't care who they play during the year. I know they got dudes you're not going to be able to deal with. So, but I don't know if Oregon has that many guys that just no one's going to be able to deal with.
They also had a ton of turnover. Like there's a lot of turnover year over year, and they did a great job in the transfer portal. A really good job in the transfer portal, but they have lost, both tackles. They replaced him with a guy that might be better than the guy last year. I get that, but you're replacing you're playing multiple tackles. You're replacing 2 really good backs. I think Mekhi Hughes is great from Tulane. I think he's gonna have a fantastic year, but I mean, that's still a new face in a new place, new quarterback.
Does Bear Alexander want to play football?
Oh, contract year. Yeah,
okay.
he'll be up.
It's not a lock. I mean,
get it.
We've been hearing the folk tales about Malik Benson for 7 years now.
Okay, he's not. Come on, not a factor.
No.
Like Evan Stewart's gonna get back mid-year from injury. Like that's gonna be helpful. Well, hopefully mid-year. I mean, it's TBD on that, but I think they're gonna be fine at wideout. They did lose Tez Johnson though. I mean, he was like the
very
safety
productive
blanket.
player,
extremely productive, great player. That's not an easy guy to replace. They have a game changer at tight end. Sadiq Slidell, he is the man. Like he is really, really good. One of the better tight ends in the country. In a year when we've lost some great ones, Loveland being gone, Tyler Warren being gone. There were some really good tight ends the last couple of years. He's probably the next guy up. Mitchell Evans last year from Notre Dame, he's gone. Like all the best ones over the last couple of years are gone. So he's probably the next guy up. So they do have a massive difference maker at tight end. But yeah, I will
say if they follow suit from everybody else that's left Purdue, maybe the Dylan Thieneman kid will just be like the real. Because it feels like everybody else that's left Purdue has been really good wherever else they've gone.
He's super productive.
So it just doesn't feel like they are that team yet, and we're treating them like that team. I could be wrong. Maybe they are that team, and maybe they just clean up. And Dante Moore is Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel. He's the next in line.
Help me out with this. Who are you taking, Penn State or Clemson right now, neutral field?
Clemson. I think they're more athletic. I think they're very similar as far as talent, roster, top to bottom.
I don't.
I like Clemson better at quarterback.
I think Clemson's got better personnel.
Yeah, but I think they're similar.
All right, Clemson, quarterback.
Yes.
Quarterback, Clemson. Running back, Penn State.
Penn State.
All right, wide receivers, Clemson by a mile.
That's not even close.
All right, tight end, Penn State.
Yeah, offensive line, Penn State.
Offensive line, Penn State. Defensive line, Clemson. Linebackers.
Yeah, but Penn State's fine on the D line.
I'm not saying they're not. I'm saying tail of the tape. Penn State or Clemson D line is better than Penn State. On their best day, their best players.
But here's how you have to look at that. What do you like better? Penn State D-line against Clemson O-line or Clemson D-line against Penn State O-line? I actually think that matchup might favor Penn State. That might favor Penn State.
I don't think Clemson's O-line is as...
They're not bad, but
I don't think they're as human as they have been in the past. Like I think that group has a chance to be a really solid group this year. Now, an emergence of a running back's massive. Brenningstool did a lot of good things for him last year at tight end.
The field
he was good, and you had to kind of keep a linebacker engaged, and the safety had to be engaged. Now, if his presence isn't there at the end of the line of scrimmage, like that's a loss for him. They do have a couple other blockers, and they're going to do what they need to do, but they won't be as much of a difference maker. So right now I go Clemson too. We're on the same page, so let's not get it twisted here. But I think the O-line's going to be pretty good.
Are you taking neutral site game right now? Are you taking Penn State over Oregon? That are doing that though,
because Oregon's got better jerseys.
Okay, I can't do this anymore. We'll be back after the break. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Talking some college football today. You can be a part of the show, 800-239-9569 if you want to get in. 800-239 the show at Mac and Cube. I agree at Cole Cubelic. Against who? Or Oregon is yet to prove it. Now, no one's proved it this year.
They beat Colorado 2 years ago.
Dealing with, hate to hear what had been happening, but good to hear that he's not going to have to step down.
Yeah, what a relief.
In Colorado. Because there were a lot of things pointing early Monday afternoon.
I was concerned.
Yeah, I mean, when we finished the show, it was kind of like, man, this is sounding like he might be
not
done.
Good, no doubt.
Or at least done for a year and then try to come back. But good news that Coach Prime's going to continue there in Colorado and keep it going. I thought Oregon proved it last year. Listen, they beat Ohio State and, like you said, ran a couple other teams out of town. But, you know, I just don't know if the annual they're going to be this every year no matter what is where I'm okay saying that they are. And they do have some good additions. They do have some pieces that are going to be tough to manage.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's easier to talk about them that way compared to everyone else. But when you're talking about just every year annually, no matter what everybody else looks like, they're going to be there. That's what I can't really do with Oregon just yet.
I get it. Totally get it. And I think there is, I think a lot of it has to do with where the Big Ten is at. I mean, just being very honest. Right now, like, who, without question, do you really, really trust in the Big Ten?
Penn State.
And that's it? Like, over the course of time and based on Ryan Day's track record and based on their recruiting profile, it's hard not to trust Ohio State.
Do I trust them in the grand scheme of things as you're referencing? Yes, I do.
Correct. Because you can't not.
Sure.
But you have to.
If you're asking me, do I trust them above and beyond this year just because of everybody else or because, you know, this is going to be, you know, they're going to do it no matter what? That's where I sort of start to struggle a little bit because I think you look at it and say they have more questions this year than they've had in a long time.
Don't disagree.
A long time. And that's where I start to kind of wonder about where are they really compared to everybody else because everybody else has similar questions. I just think it's a weaker field right now than it has been in a while, which is crazy, Greg, because last year we were talking about how small of a field it was. Now maybe it's a bigger field because we just lack super confidence with any teams out there.
Right.
I mean, you have to have confidence with Penn State. You have to have confidence with Clemson. And I think you start having the real conversation of, okay, who's next as far as your level of confidence with them? We talked about this at Media Days. Everybody's throwing Bama, Georgia, Texas in there. They all have pretty new quarterbacks. We just don't. So I don't know where to go with it. But we will talk to Joe Cook about one of those teams when we come back on the other side because Texas begins practice speed. More on the Longhorns after this on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, let's talk Texas Longhorns. Joe Cook going to join us now on the Higginbotham hotline right here on Mac and Q. JoxFM.com, where you can listen online. His work at Inside Texas of the On3 Sports Network at Joseph Cook 89. Where would you rate on a scale of 1 to 10 the Arch Manning hype, with maybe 10 being completely irresponsible?
Yeah, I think we're in the 8.5 range. Way high. And someone and think. I think I told you. It's replace. It's back. One Arch Manning belt was probably one like against somebody.
What have we seen from him behind closed doors in practice that lead us to believe he is by far and away the Heisman frontrunner this year?
I think there's an ability to, as simple as it sounds, but just hit the post route. And I know over the course of the summer, it's just summer workouts. You're only in shorts and t-shirts. You're not there with the coaches. You're not in period 1, period 2, ND group, all that stuff. But that was his strength last year, was being able to hit the deep route, being able to make those connections against Mississippi State with DeAndre Moore, and even against ULM and UTSA. So that's the confidence, and then just his overall confidence. Like, this is something that's kind of been said about him over the past few weeks is, and asked about him, is how is he going to handle all this pressure, all this attention, all that. And Sark and even some of the assistant coaches that we were able to talk to yesterday made a good point. It's like, his last name's been Manning for about the last 21 years. Like, he understands kind of what comes with that territory. So there's a comfortability about him in his own skin, being who he is, and also just being a guy, one of the guys in the locker room that has him being looked to as one of the leaders of this team with only 2 starts to his name.
Joseph Cook joining us on the Higginbotham hotline, talking Texas Longhorns. And I think the big question for me, for a lot of folks with Texas, is going to be that offensive line. What are your expectations? What are you hearing about the group? I mean, and it's not just the super talented guys that get drafted, but also just somebody super solid like Jake Majors that can do so much on his own, knows everything about the offense, can make big decisions. What's the real expectation there in Austin with this group?
Yeah, it may look a little bit different. Offenses run everything, but you may see Texas run a little bit more gap runs just with the personnel they have. There's no replacing Kelvin Banks, but someone still has to play left tackle. That's going to be Trevor Gooseby. And that's another scenario where, dang, it's as good as a situation as you could ask for. He played against Texas A&M, so played against the Shamars. He played in the SEC championship game against guys like Michael Williams and Jalen, and held his own there. Played against Clemson, played against Arizona State. Like, he played in Texas' most important games at both tackle spots, and he's going to be the guy at left tackle. I think one of the other things is, yes, you're losing 4 starters on that offensive line. 3 are going to the NFL via the draft, 1 via undrafted free agent. But basically everybody else who's a candidate to replace them is in their 3rd or 4th year in the program, and the one exception was a 5-star. You have at center replacing Jake Majors, Cole Hudson is probably going to be the guy. And, yeah, his number of starts may be low, but he was kind of a co-starter with DJ Campbell for a few years. Right tackle, that 5-star Brandon Baker, competing with third-year guy Andre Kojo. And then DJ Campbell's the big returner at right guard. He was actually higher rated than Kelvin Banks in that 2022 class. So, it's not like they're throwing young guys out there and hoping for the best. They've seen these guys in practice for several years, and they feel like they're going to be able to do what they need to do to give Arch Manning time and to give guys like Trey Wisner and CJ Baxter room to run the rock.
How do you anticipate the defensive front being, I know the edges are great. There's no denying that how good that part of the defense is, how they get after the quarterback, how they can affect the passing game. The edge defenders are a huge, huge issue when trying to play against Texas, but the interior is a big question mark. And while there's a lot of new faces, I know they're pleased with what they were able to add in the portal. Does not feel like that's going to be a position group of strength. How do you assess the interior?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those. They can't keep getting away with this. They made big additions at the portal last year in addition to developing some of their fifth-year guys and hit that home run again. Texas has had NFL-level defensive tackle play since 2022, and so that's been critical for their rise to where they are in the sport right now. Right now, they feel like they can run three different lines out there, three different tackle tandems, and have a good chance with all three of them. And of course, that is I think that's a little pie in the sky. I do like the addition of Murad Watson from Syracuse, a freshman All-American. I think he and Cole Brevard, someone who's probably going to do a lot of interior clogging, but could do some other stuff as well. He's going to be those two, maybe the transfers that get the most run. They really like Hero Kanu, Ohio State edition. And then the guy who's coming back is Alex January, who's going to be a true sophomore, played in the Ohio State game. Actually, his claim to fame is drawing a unsportsmanlike penalty flag on Travion Henderson. So they do have guys there, not as proven as Broughton and Collins and Murphy and Sweat and Coburn and Ojimo, of course, but they're again, it's a similar situation where they're not having to rely on younger guys. And this may be the last year they really have to do the big portal thing, because they brought in 3 in the 2025 class. They have 4 committed in the 2026 class. And the portal additions they made during the most recent 2 windows after the 2024 season helped to kind of right the roster cycle and get the right number of guys in each classification. So this may be the last time we see Texas, because of need and not want, head to the portal for defensive tackle.
Visiting with Joe Cook, talking Texas Longhorns. Running back was a big question and big concern heading into camp last year. They were able to fill that. Defensive tackle, a big question heading into camp, able to fill that. I have a lot of concerns about a different position heading into this year that I think some people are pretty comfortable with, because the D tackle spot was filled fine. They figured running back out. But I go back to a guy similar kind of to what we described in Jake Majors with what they had in Gunnar Helm last year. There are a lot of people who love Jack Indries from Cal. I think he's okay. I've watched multiple games. I think he runs well. He's not a devastating blocker. He's semi-willing to be a blocker. Maybe Cal just wasn't asking him to do the things that other people have seen him do other places. But I don't feel like that's a one-for-one replacement. How do you sort of view the tight end position, one that Sark has been masterful with for a long time now?
Yeah, I think that's fair. He's not Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm was, I think, around 6'4.5" and 250, and he wasn't the best blocker ever. But when you're 6'4" and 250, you can do a little bit more than when you're 6'3.5" and 240 like Jack Indries is. He may not be a thumper. Yeah, you're right. He may not be a guy who you put right by your right tackle and you're like, all right, let's clear this path right here. But he is someone who is going to be very capable receiving, especially over the middle. Made some tough contested catches, was one of Fernando Mendoza's top targets. And the fact that Arch probably has a little bit of better scramble ability. And I think there's this notion that Arch is just going to become, they're going to use a lot of design runs for him. I maybe on crunch time, but not on a standard down basis. But because he has that ability to scramble, you can run your tight end out a little bit. It's kind of like a little bit of the same notion as Pavia and the tight end from Vanderbilt. I'm blanking on his name. Like when you have those guys who can kind of mirror each other, you may not need the guy to block as much. But in the run game, you are going to need him. That is a little bit of a question. Texas does like to use a lot of 2 tight end sets, and if they do bring another tight end on the field, Well, it's going to be 6'5", 260-pound Jordan Washington, who is, they still need more physicality from him too. So it's kind of one of those young tight end problems. Yeah, you're not exactly sure what the blocking is going to look like, and that's one of the things that they hope they can set up during fall camp. But as far as receiving goes with Jack injuries, they really like what they have, and they feel like that's going to be someone who Arch looks to not just as a target, but also as a safety valve, like Helm was so often last year.
Appreciate the time, Joe. Back with more right next on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 9 a.m., hour number 3. Individuals who are on the beat of these teams around the SEC, and just give us daily updates now the fall camp is underway. Try to keep that rolling here throughout fall camp until the season begins. Before we get to Austin Price, I'll tell you about Game Day Men's Health. If you're feeling on edge, if you're tired, if you're lacking sleep, lacking energy, Game Day Men's Health can help you. All you do is go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com, schedule the free consultation right now. Free PSA test, free testosterone test. They'll tell you where you are from a base level of your health and just give you an idea of what they think they can do for you, present the different options. If it's weight loss, they can help you with that. Testosterone replacement can help you with that. They have the peptides now, which your body discontinues making over time that they can refill there for you. They just want to help you feel better. They want to give you different ways to live a better life, feel better, be lighter, and just be in a better mood day in, day out. Great people, Great options. Save 10% on anything they do by mentioning Mac and Cube when you walk in the front door by going to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today. Tim Price covers the Tennessee Volunteers. Joins us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. Austin, first, give us an update on Boo Carter. Heupel says yesterday that he's there the last few weeks about where he was, what he was doing. What truth was there in what was being said the last month or so, and what's the situation now moving forward?
Yeah, Boo's spent some. I don't think that's team. I don't think after Boo, after another opportunity, team he's not part on at this. I'd say kind of to the side, but what kind of and the activities.
Getting some reps at nickel. What was this?
Yeah,
there are a couple or texts, and they're like, "Man, you making me feel a lot better about Tennessee." And I was like, "Well, give Austin credit for that, because last time he came on with us, we talked about running back, and you ran through all the 1,000-yard rushers, and I think I've watched a little bit more of Joey, and he's made me feel better about what he might be capable of, and defensive depth, and we know it's not going to be a concern. So flip it around for us this time, because you sort of brought us back home, reeled us back in, being a little down on Tennessee. What are your biggest concerns that you feel like are going to be extremely tough for Heupel and his staff to overcome this fall, and that you're trying to find answers for?
It's wide receiver and quarterback. You don't know what they have technically at quarterback. Mark Klinger's not played in real games. George McIntyre's a true freshman. And Joey Aguilar, while it had some moments at Appalachian State, was a little bit turnover prone. Do the wide splits? Does Tennessee's ability to run the ball, does that bring him back down to earth in terms of he doesn't turn it over as much? I think that's a big question for me. And then the receivers. I mean, Tennessee has 7 scholarship receivers today on the practice field. Chris Brazel wasn't out there because he had a little bit of a minor thing, should be back first of next week. But that took him to 6. And one of those 6, or actually all of those 6, have never started a game, have never played really meaningful snaps. And so they're a talented group, a group that, was highly recruited, that people think highly of, but they've not shown it. And so this team to me will be dictated by the quarterback play and by the receiver play. And if Tennessee is able to get solid, better than solid play at those positions, and I think they can be really good with a schedule that's not overly difficult. Obviously, you play the big 3, but outside of that, you don't have like this odd team that you play. Oklahoma's at home in November. It's later in the year. So I just think for me, like, it will all be dictated by quarterbacks and receivers. If they play well, I think Tennessee can be pretty solid. If they don't, then no. I think it's as simple as that. I think everything else we just talked about that you just referenced, defense, the running game, the tight ends, the offensive line, all that will be on par or better than it was a year ago. And so to me, it boils down to what kind of quarterback play do they get and what kind of receiver play do they get this fall.
All right, so you mentioned Boo Carter being away and that the team wasn't happy with that. The team went through a lot with the whole Nico deal. Yep. You're replacing center, you're replacing quarterback, a lot of positions of leadership. Are you concerned about the mentality, the makeup of this team?
I think
I'm not trying to put the kids down saying they're like mentally weak or anything, but it's just like when you go through a lot like that, it can be hard to focus on the right things and sort of develop leadership because you're just worried about piecing everything together. Do you see kind of where I'm going with that?
No, I'm with you 1,000%. I was the same way probably coming out of spring. And then you hear the alpha male on this offense is Miles Kipsman. And you hear him talk about, them being 60 or 70 deep at a pool this summer, and it just kind of growing. Started with 10 to 20, and they just kept inviting guys over, and all of a sudden there's 60 or 70 guys hanging out by the pool, just kind of bonding and doing those type things. You hear about, their reaction to Boo being away and them not being happy with Boo and those type things. This team's got more to it than I thought it would have. Because I think 2 or 3 months ago, I think my mindset was, where yours was. Again, there's a lot of unknowns around this football team, and you're not going to know until you throw them in the deep end against Syracuse at the end of August. And that's a scary thing because you just don't know. And I think it's kind of like, being in the ocean. Like you kind of know what's beneath you, but you don't know, is there anything really scary beneath you? And so, like, there's some just a few things about this football team that I think, have got to be answered, but you can't answer them until you start playing real games. Doing scrimmages and those type of things, to me, that gives you an idea, but it doesn't truly answer the question.
What's the floor then? That's kind of my big question, because I kind of know what the ceiling is. Everything lines up. They end up making a decent run. The schedule's kind of gettable. I could see them being a 9-3, 10-2 football team. You really could. You lose to Georgia, you lose to Bama, you can win every other game for sure, especially with where Florida falls in the schedule and other spots. So, I mean, I can see the ceiling, but what's the floor if things don't go according to plan this year?
I think it's 7-5 or 8-4. I think 7-5 is just everything goes unbelievably badly. You look at their road games in conference at Kentucky. And I don't count the big three, right? I go to Florida, to Alabama. Those are places they've not won since I was in college. And I think Cole was just out of college and Greg was in high school. Like that's irrelevant to me. It's like, don't have that slip up like you did against Arkansas last year in Fayetteville, at Mississippi State, or at Kentucky. Now, traditionally, Tennessee's not lost those type games, at least under Josh Heupel. But they've had these kind of weird games, South Carolina 2022. Missouri was much better in 2023 than people give them credit for, but people still lump that in. And then in 2024, it was Arkansas. Like, you can't have that kind of slip up, right? Like a year ago, Tennessee went really. I mean, if you win the Arkansas game, you went 11-1 in the regular season. I mean, like, the only loss was in Athens, so Jimmy, is a really tough place to play. So Tennessee's got to find a way to win the games they're supposed to win on the road, and then win their games at home, minus Georgia. And again, they played Georgia better last year than they have at any point under Josh Heupel. And I think Georgia at quarterback is not nearly as talented as they were a year ago, with Gunnar Stockton running things, and it's early in the year. So you just never know. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee's got to find a way not to have those slip-ups. So yeah, I mean, if they have everything go poorly, chemistry ends up being bad, it ends up being a train wreck, because you just don't know. I mean, that 2005 team was preseason ranked third, and they went 5-6, missed the bowl. So you just don't know until you start playing games what this team's got, what the team's made of. And, for me, I think that you're just trying to, get a win against Syracuse and move to the next week. It's coach speak, and I hate coach speak, but it's kind of true with this team. You have to take it week by week.
Austin Price joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline talking Tennessee camp. So I've kind of asked this question. We've discussed this question with multiple schools in the league. As you head into fall camp, and Tennessee is going to be out there today, what's something that will give you a lot more confidence about what they can be that you feel like you could learn from a trusted source with this Tennessee football team that you maybe don't know now?
Nothing today, because they're just in T-shirts and shorts. But a week from now, you'd like to hear that the receivers and the quarterbacks are making plays. It's what I think is a solid secondary and a really solid defense. You'd like to hear that, whether it's Aguilar or Merklinger or both, or heck, even George McIntyre are delivering the ball, getting the ball out on time, they're reading things. To me, that's the key in this offense, is processing. Hendon Hooker processed at a ridiculous rate. What does Merklinger process at? What does Aguilar process at? And get the ball out. I think those are the things that would make me feel better about this team, if you hear that the process and all of that is happening much quicker than maybe they anticipated.
We appreciate the time, Austin. Always great stuff. We love visiting with you. Love catching up on Tennessee. Great information. We'll do it again soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
There you go. Austin Price covers the Tennessee Volunteers. He was on the Higginbotham Hotline. And oddly, Greg, my confidence is climbing with Tennessee. Now, I think it's pretty low for a while, too. It was down. And with everything that needs to be replaced, I understand that you're not going to have the same thing in a lot of spots, but then this offense might just be able to work with almost anything at certain places. I think center's going to be tough. I think that's going to be a big loss. And Austin said wide receiver, which is weird because we've always heard about how good they are, who they have, what they've got in the portal, the 5 stars coming out of high school. Not a lot of people have brought that up as a real question mark for this team, but Austin knows him better than anybody, and he does.
Well, I understand the optimism around Tennessee. I do. I just know what an off-season of distractions can occasionally do to a program, having witnessed it firsthand last year. I just think there's a lot of distractions right now, and that's disconcerting. And I think that when you look at their games, look at their schedule, I think they're going to be in a really good spot. I think the floor is 8-4. I really do, because the schedule is extremely manageable, in my opinion. I think the game against Georgia, at Florida, at Bama, 3 very losable games. In all likelihood, I think they probably lose those 3. If they get one of those 3, you're back in the playoff mix. Problem is, it's hard for me to really point out, yep, that's a loss. At Mississippi State, at Kentucky, not really there. Oklahoma at home, I think that one would be probably one of the tougher games in the schedule. Arkansas at home after last year, I have a hard time seeing Arkansas get them twice. I think they're going to be, if they're as good on defense, I think they have a chance to be. I think they're going to be just fine. As long as they don't have a massive liability at quarterback, because while in name and in prospect rating, Nico Iamaleava was otherworldly compared to what they're going to have at the spot this year. But in production, Nico was extremely human from time to time. Now, he'd make 2 or 3 plays a game, extend drive here and there. Like, he did some nice things, but he's far from irreplaceable. So my confidence in Tennessee has strengthened pretty significantly, but I am still having a hard time finding a place for them in the playoff right now, because in the SEC, I probably have them 7th, maybe 8th.
Yeah.
Which would have them pretty far on the outside looking in when it comes to the playoff race.
Oh, but this goes back to that jumbled up mess that we have in the middle of it.
Well, that's the thing, but I have them and Auburn at the exact same spot. Like, if I'm looking at them and Auburn, I think both are top 25 football teams. I think both have a pretty high floor. I also think they're going to probably lose a game they shouldn't. I don't know which one yet. Auburn, it might be Baylor. Tennessee, it might be at Kentucky. Who knows which one? Just using that one as an example. Probably lose one they shouldn't.
Maybe get one they shouldn't.
Probably win one they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they're sitting there 8-4, 9-3, fringe playoff team, squarely in the top 20, with a marquee win and some momentum after what was supposed to be kind of a transition year for Tennessee and kind of a breakthrough year for Auburn.
I'll say this: if Tennessee is even getting a playoff mention in early November, those fans should be on cloud 9.
Well, they will be, though. I mean,
No,
look at their schedule.
Not if they're a 3-loss team, they won't.
They're not going to have 3 losses.
You just said they're going to finish up 8-4, whatever it is. Like, they're not going to be happy. If they're a 2-loss team, I bet they'll be disappointed.
Perhaps. Like, the disappointing thing would be losing to Syracuse. Disappointing thing would be losing at Mississippi State in week 5.
That would be more disappointing than losing to Syracuse, in my opinion.
Yes, fine. But it's week 1. Like, nothing hurts worse than losing week 1. I mean, I get what you're saying, but when you really look at it, like, Tennessee's got good personnel. Now, they have some prove it years for guys coming up, but they have good personnel. And the offense is kind of ready made to be pretty dang sporty. So Joe Milton, far from a game breaker, tremendous talent, far from a game breaker. Nico Iamaleava, far from a game breaker, tremendous talent, far from a game breaker. I think right now we might have a guy that's kind of a gamer playing for Tennessee in Joey Aguilar. I think he's got some game. I do. I think he's got some gumption, and I appreciate that. But I do wonder if, for whatever reason, the defense is not as good as I think they might be. And they can't affect the opposing quarterback as much as I think they might. And the secondary has some injury concerns as Jermod McCoy back from an injury to his knee in the spring. Then it becomes somewhat more problematic.
We're going to continue this conversation when we come back. Maybe I like where you just went there, like Auburn, Tennessee. Maybe a couple of other teams, sort of one or the other, on who we like more right now heading into the college football season. We'll do that when we come back right here on Jox. 945. Watch live on YouTube every morning. Search WJOX 945 800-239-9569. You want to get in on this college football conversation on Jox 94.5.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champs of GMC dealers. 5 years in a row, they've won the national championship. That's according to General Motors. Don't take my word for it. Go up there and see the trophies there on the trophy case. It's amazing when you deal with Andy Cole, Jonathan Yeager, their incredible service staff. They just go the extra mile to make sure that everything is taken care of when it comes to purchasing a new vehicle or a used vehicle. They have the used car superstore, whatever the budget may be. They can get you out the door in the best possible vehicle for the best possible price. No one can beat them. That's why they take $14,000 off the GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. You can take $5,000 off the economic, great sporty SUV, a Buick Encore GX. These are fantastic deals that you won't find anywhere else. That's why 75% of their business is repeat customers. It's because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. So the short drive to Coleman, you'll be glad you did. You could also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at Bill Smith Buick, GMC.com.
Interesting tweet coming in from Pete Moss to the show at Mac and Cube. You ready for this?
Yes.
Go NBA on you.
Ooh, love it.
Is Oregon football the Stockton Malone Utah Jazz?
A little bit more of a known commodity there with Stockton Malone. A little bit more turnover.
I think his is more of the almost had it, as he adds a gif of, oh, you almost had it.
But why not them, though? Like, I mean, at some point, they were number one in the country last year. They got to a bit of a buzzsaw situation against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Like, I think it's easy to poke fun at a team that's never arrived at the mountaintop, but they've knocked on the door enough to know that that's a legitimate school and a legitimate program with unbelievable resources and a great head coach. So I think they have a lot of what you want when trying to look for the next team that could break through and win an elusive title.
Hugh Freeze is meeting with the media right now before we get into some and/or football teams coming up for this fall. This is a quote from Justin Hokanson at that press conference. Hugh Freeze on Malcolm Simmons, quote, based on information that I've been given from our administration that I have knowledge of the matter, he's been cleared to practice in team activities.
Very, very interesting for sure.
Yeah,
and
I don't know the details of it. I don't have that information. A lot of people are going to immediately get upset with that. I don't have the details. So, but if you're letting him practice, I'd imagine you have some that make you feel a lot better than what the public perception is, Greg.
Yeah, and I never know the details of these circumstances until they play out. And what's unfortunate is that we will never know the full details of what transpired. But if they feel confident enough in putting them on the practice field, they must know a lot more than we do. So not going to jump to conclusions, going to trust the administration at Auburn for doing their due diligence and figure out what's best for moving forward with Malcolm Simmons in or not in the mix in the future.
So this is from Justin Hokanson 59 seconds ago. Hugh Freeze says for now, Hugh Freeze acknowledges he asked DJ Durkin to go easier on quarterback Jackson Arnold in the spring. Freeze says offensive coaches are working closely with Durkin regarding practice plans. Quote, the number one priority for practice is our quarterback to leave the field confident.
You mad.
I'm not going to tell you I love it.
You mad. He mad.
You're literally the only person with half a football brain that has told me they're not frustrated or concerned about that.
Because I think it
present me with another.
It can be contextual. Like, it doesn't have to be like, let's play vanilla coverage. Let's play vanilla coverage so he feels good.
What is it then?
Just making sure the quarterback has a great grasp of.
Well, no, you're saying it's not telling them to play vanilla coverage. What is it telling the defensive coordinator to do?
Well, it's telling the defensive coordinator to script for success for the offense.
Like, be static. Like, don't move.
No, don't be static. Like, hey, guess what? We have a man call here, run man. Like, hey, we have a zone call here, run zone. Like, guess what? It's also good for the defense? Having the offense run the perfect play and still finding a way to get stopped.
Okay. I appreciate your optimism.
I'm going to find the silver lining this time of year. Life is good and everybody's undefeated.
I wish I could be that guy. I'm just not.
No.
I'm more pessimist. It was just I guess we work sometimes on the air.
Sometimes.
I just want to hear that my guys going out and making it happen.
Yeah.
Throw everything at me. Let's go.
And in time, they'll get there.
We'll see. Hope so. Hope that does take place. All right, some and/or college football teams.
I'm just going to rip off a bunch of teams that I have categorized right next to each other. If I were to rank teams 1 through 136 right now, these teams would be right next to each other.
Okay.
We'll start with the aforementioned Auburn Tigers and the previous segment's star, Tennessee Volunteers.
Oh, I'd probably lean Auburn just on ceiling. Overall level of talent, I think, has an opportunity to take them a little bit further. I think Tennessee's defense has more talent, has better players across the board, but I think DJ and Tim Banks have done about an equally good job with what they've been presented talent-wise. Auburn has more guys on offense, and Auburn's offensive line should be a lot better. So there you go.
I'm on the same page. So we're good there. 1 for 1 in agreement. The Florida Gators and the Ole Miss Rebels.
I'll take Florida. Now, the whole Lagway thing and the boot, and then like you brought up, all right, now this is a revolving door that we can't seem to find our way out of here. We got to find a way to get into the lobby at some point in time. We can't just keep going around in circles hoping that one day we're going to get in and be able to shop. But the offensive line is going to be good. Ole Miss is probably not. I love the running back situation at Florida. I like the offensive line. I think receivers are going to be solid. Tight end, man, Billy can make that work. The defensive line is going to have disruptors, and you and I both know that can do a whole lot for you in this league.
Correct.
Linebacker, I think, is going to be B+-ish. I'm a little worried about secondary, but if we can get to the quarterback, we'll make that happen. Ole Miss is not going to get to the quarterback very often. Now, the secondary could be good. It's all new. Brand new. Like, but I don't know. I feel like I know more about Florida than I do Ole Miss right now, and Austin Simmons has a chance to be great, and Caden Lee's awesome, and you got a lot of new receivers too. And we know Lane's going to dial it up. But I just feel like there are more known commodities that are safer to have confidence in with Florida right now than there are at Ole Miss.
I don't have any problem saying that being on the same page with you.
However, schedule.
Everyone gets on the schedule train. I like to just rank teams based on who I think would win on the neutral field.
You and I are just going on guys.
Who do I want? What team do I want in this matchup? I would agree with you. I go Florida. All right, next up, Texas A&M and Oklahoma.
Boy, this is similar to the first one that you asked, because ceiling, it's easily Oklahoma, because John Mateer could just skyrocket. Deion Burks is a rocket ship potentially. That defensive line, havoc is what they're going to provide for you. I like Venables having his hands on the defense again. I know that might cluster some of the day-to-day coaching stuff, but you and I both know once the season starts, you can have your speaking engagements. Don't really care. Not overly concerned with raising money in NIL once we get going. The offensive line, man, I have no idea. It can't be worse. A&M's offensive line going to be pretty good. Running back situation, good. I have questions about quarterback. Concepcion going to be big time. I don't think the defense is going to be better. I don't even think it's going to be as good as last year.
I think it'll be just as good. I think it'll be about the same.
No.
Year 2 bump.
No. Not with those dudes you had up front last year. Like, people look at Shamar's stats and be like, oh, yeah, 2 sacks. I'm like, you're not watching the games because that guy caused problems.
He impacted games for sure.
Right now, right this second, I'm taking Elko as a head coach. But I think for this individual year, I have to go Oklahoma.
So I'm on A&M. I think the floor is higher with A&M.
That's very fair. And I probably wouldn't push back on that. But I'm trying to be more like you and being more the optimist. I'll take the ceiling here.
There's too many things that have to go right for Oklahoma to have a top 10 finish this year.
However, the caliber in my firearm is a lot greater than yours. Would you agree with that?
I will not at this point. No. Firepower, yes.
That's what I mean.
Take the top off the defense, yes. You give me
quarterback
that, you give me that running back room with that offensive line?
Yeah, that can change things.
Now,
I won't
not
argue with you.
dynamic, not 60-yard touchdowns, but 5 yards cloud of dust.
But that's what I
Make
mean.
you hurt.
And like
Same reason why you like Florida over Ole Miss.
Playmaking ability on defense. You have to lean Oklahoma right now. Like even if A&M's is more sound and A&M's is more structurally in place more often, you have to give Oklahoma the benefit of playmaking ability on defense.
Up front, yes.
Yeah. So I'll go Oklahoma.
I got no problem with that. That's why we're having this conversation.
If you said right now, one of the nuclear reactors is going to melt down, I'll take Oklahoma.
Love it.
Like A&M ain't melting down. They're not going to ride that thing on overdrive long enough to be able to push the whole thing into the ground. Oklahoma might.
I think Elko and that team is going to be a lot like Florida this year, and they are going to be a smash mouth outfit that will wear you out. And I love that style of play.
Here's how I'll say it, and I think this is right in line with what you're saying. A&M, if both of these teams are pretty close to their ceilings, A&M is going to have a lot more things that you and I love. Oklahoma is going to have a lot more things that the general public loves.
Fair enough. I care about things that we love.
I do too.
All right, good.
It's not a given.
All right, next up, one more in the league before we go outside the league in the next segment. Georgia and LSU.
Georgia.
Okay, that was too easy. Georgia.
No, I think we should talk about why, because I think there are a lot of people that would take LSU.
All right, let's add a third team to this conversation.
The old NBA three-way trade.
Alabama.
I am moving into I don't know territory on Alabama, and that's not a bad thing. I think I'm gaining confidence, but for some reason trying to keep myself from having too much confidence. If I'm taking those three teams right now, I still might take Georgia.
Georgia won.
Here's one thing about Georgia that I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about. Like we just talked about this with A&M and Oklahoma. Like firepower.
Oh, they got dudes.
Dude, their weapons are big time.
Yeah,
and no one's talking about it, really, I don't feel like. And that's tight end. Now, running back might be a little thin.
I think Nate Frazier's a dude.
But I just said thin. Like
very
not,
thin.
Not like four of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
By their standards.
I'm not talking about Zachariah Branch either, man. You can have it.
He's a catch and run guy, but think about how often they throw that screen.
Also, think about like your Mecole Hardmans.
That's him.
Just finding the right time to get him.
That's him.
Yeah.
Like he's a touchdown threat every time he touches the ball. Now, I don't want him running any routes beyond the line of scrimmage. No, he just has catch and run go.
Right.
We got action. But Noah Thomas' guy got great length. He had Colby Young back, who's the best pound-for-pound receiver last year. I think they're going to be rock solid at running back with Nate Frazier in year 2 of his development. I think the offensive line should be good.
I think it's going to be good.
I think Gunnar Stockton, if the organization runs through Gunnar Stockton, they will have a blue-collar approach that has been missing the last 2 years.
And I'll carry that over. Gabe Harris, while not dynamic, blue collar, I think. CJ Allen can be pretty blue collar, I think, the way he plays. Christian Miller, Jordan Hall are going to have to be more blue collar guys because they're not super twitched up, dominate all the time. But then you get your Raylan Wilsons and your Elo Medozis who can be your dynamic guys on defense. And you got enough back in the secondary to be able to cover some things up. I think the defense is going to be better than people believe right now. And I kind of don't know where people think it's going to be, but they're just not talking about it. So,
well, it's kind of one of those that like, oh, it's a foregone conclusion. They'll be good on defense.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 9:39, today, July 30th. Heading a little back and forth here, or if maybe certain teams around college football, we're going to continue discussing it. If you're continuously looking for a new home, you should probably call Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group. Why? Well, they serve more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. So who's going to know the landscape, the feel, have an understanding of what's out there, what's becoming available, more so than the Gusty Goulas Group? Over 855-star Google reviews. You just go now, Google Gusty Goulas Group. Call 205-542-1996. Tell them you're ready to get out of your home. You're ready to find your dream home. You want to know what your home's worth. How can they help you? Maybe what's going to come available, and that will make your decision on whether or not you want to get into a new home. They can do it all for you. Google Gusty Goulas Group or call 205-542-1996. Today, better yet, go to gustygoulasgroup.com and start packing. Okay, Greg. More back and forth on college football teams heading into this season.
Ohio State and Oregon.
Of course. I'm going to lean Oregon right now. And this backs up my point of why with both of these teams, we're sitting there saying that this is a given and this is a definite and they're in no matter what.
Yes.
I just think the departures from Columbus are absolutely massive. And don't know much. I feel like we would have a better feel on quarterback if it was just going to be Julian Sain and he was going to be that guy. You've lost a gigantic bulk of your offensive line that played really well last year. Now, I know you go get the Onawanya kid from Rice, and maybe he comes in and is great. Jeremiah Smith, Cornell Tate, Brandon Ennis is going to be awesome. But you got to protect your quarterback, and you got to have a guy that can give him the ball on time in the right spot. Don't know if that's there. And I know it was spotty until the playoffs. But that defensive line caused problems. And most of those guys are also gone. So I just don't know what I have right now. Maybe less so in Columbus than I have in the last, 6-8 years? So I'd have to lean Oregon right now.
Don't hate it at all. You're going to like this one. Notre Dame and Texas.
You're probably going to hate this one right now.
No.
I think you know where I'm going. I think you know the main reason is, okay, Colin Simmons had LASIK surgery. Great. We love the edges. Here's one. Hey, I don't know if you caught this at Media Days. Tell me if you did. I want to hear a little bit more about this. Did you hear Sark at his main address to the media say that Trey Moore's moving off the ball? That's a little concerning to me. Does it tell us, one, that they have less confidence in what they had off the ball, obviously outside of in the middle, because we know what that is?
Correct.
Or there are other edge guys, because Ethan Burt's back too, but like that guy can get to the quarterback.
Jimmy Cook's in the kitchen in the last scrimmage.
But if I have Colin Simmons on one side and Trey Moore on the other side, you can't deal with that.
They're kind of the same player.
Cool.
Play super vertical, like it's great, but they're kind of the same player.
That's just now. If that turns into what Jalen McLeod was at Auburn last year, great. That's a win probably for Texas because then you can use them in pass rush situations, whatever. I want to see how that works out. All that to say, give me Notre Dame.
Agree.
Because the team with the most grit right now is Notre Dame. The team that would be okay with you getting the first shot, punching them in the face, and then proving what they can do back right now is Notre Dame. Not even close. I'll take the Irish. Jeremiah, I love, you know how much I love him. The offensive line is going to be good. Even if Jaggy Saw takes a little time to come back, it's not going to be a liability.
He'll be fine.
And we loved the pieces that filled in Rubio and company late last year on that D-line. They might not be what they were for the whole season, but they're going to be okay there.
They're going to be fine.
You've kind of upgraded at wide receiver. Notre Dame, tight end is going to be strength of the football team still.
You got three guys on. No, tight end's a problem.
I don't think it's a problem.
Oh, everyone's hurt. They've had major. I think tight end's the biggest question mark on Notre Dame. Raridan's got 2 ACLs in his history. Cooper Flanagan tore his Achilles in the bowl game last year. I think it was against Georgia. I can't remember which one. And they have a couple other guys. Bauman has had 2 ACLs in his history. So they just have 3 guys that have all had injury history, which is a concern. Tight end is the biggest question, but they've been good at tight end forever. It's like one of those, like they're going to have a guy that's solid, but their receivers are so much better this year with the addition of Malachi Fields, Greathouse, Faison. Like, they're going to be good at wideout. I go Notre Dame there because I think Notre Dame, with what comes back from injury last year, they're actually going to be really good on the edges of the defense. Like, they lost Botello week 1. They lost Boubacar Traore week 3. They lost, Bryce Love was a true freshman. Like, they, I think, are now have 3 guys that can get after the quarterback, all of which were not a part of the process last year. Plus year 2 with probably the best corner tandem in the entire game. I lean Notre Dame there. I don't think that's a popular opinion amongst many people that are, I guess you would say,
they don't have the Ferraris
in the know.
So they don't have the Lamborghinis. So they're not as cool to like. But when it comes, when the ball's placed down and kicked and we start the game, they got a little more of what it takes to win on a consistent basis, I think.
Oh, you want to get weird?
Sure.
All right, let's get weird for a second. You're going to love this one because I just know you. Utah and Baylor. I know you're going to love it.
I think Utah's offensive line is going to be really good.
Yeah.
And I think when was they have, but not super often, had like dynamic quarterback ability to do different things. There have been times that they've had it, but it hasn't been on a regular basis recently.
But honestly, it was the guy that ran around like 5-6 years ago or whatever, beat Oregon lost to Oregon in the Pac-12 title game. That was the last time they had a guy that was just a straight up runaround, but that guy couldn't throw it. He was super dynamic with the ball in his hands, but couldn't throw it. I don't remember his name. Number 1.
Tyler Huntley. He was number 1.
Yeah. Super dynamic, but not a great thrower. Like, Dan Pierre actually can rip it.
No, he can throw.
He throws it fine. And is a little bit more of a jitterbug and is so hard to bring down, whereas Huntley was a little more like RG3 track guy. So I think Utah might be the bounce back team of the season. Like, if they win the Big 12, I would not be the tiniest bit surprised.
No, and you added some. I mean, we talk about some of these other teams, like the pieces fitting. I mean, you go get a Creed Whittemore at receiver, Larry Simmons at receiver. It's all got to fit in and work, but the core of it should be really good. Like, they should be able to turn and hand the ball off to Wayshawn Parker or Corey Rogers and just go. And then you let your quarterback figure it out from there. The receivers fill in, and all of a sudden you just build as the season goes on. The defensive front 7, I think, is mostly intact. We know how that group's going to play. It's not going to be different than it was. They're going to hit you in the mouth, and they're going to give you different looks. They're going to move. So I would probably go Utah right now. I think there's a lot to like about Baylor. I do. But I think Utah has a little more oomph and maybe even a little more wow factor at different spots. So I'll go Utah.
Love it. Ready?
Closer than a lot of people would think, I believe.
All right, next. Indiana, Michigan.
Man, right now I think it's Indiana. Everybody's leaning on Michigan, thinking that you're going to get a freshman quarterback that's going to do all these things. I think Justice Haynes will be a good fit there for what they do. The offensive line is going to be good. It's not like it's going backwards. I don't know if tight end is going to be as good as last year.
It won't be. Good luck. I think I went number 10 overall.
But yes, there were massive departures defensively. Massive. No one can change that. No one can switch that up. But Derek Moore can still rip. He can get to the quarterback off the edge. I think you're still going to be solid on that side of the ball. I think secondary is a little bit more of a question mark last year, but you lost your best corner last year anyway. And you had to make that work. I just think Indiana's going to be solid, man. I think they added almost the exact pieces in the exact places that they had to have. Now, still, it's got to fit, it's got to work. But right now, I'll go Indiana.
Let me add a third team. Illinois.
You know I love them. I like Illinois a lot.
You like Illinois better than Indiana?
That's tough, man. That's almost coin flip territory.
Do you like Illinois better than Michigan?
I think I like Indiana and Illinois better than Michigan, yeah.
See, like I have it Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, but the margins are razor thin. Razor thin. Michigan's quarterback play was so abysmal last year. The fact that they won games is honestly a miracle.
Yeah, but that defense, man,
The
so
defense
filthy.
is filthy. But even if their quarterback play, if they score 24 points a game as opposed to 17, they're going to be a completely different team. Their defense was filthy, no doubt. But their identity, they're never going to drop off on defense. It's not who they are.
No, but you got a running back returning that sort of became the guy later in the year last year in Lafferty. The whole offensive line is going to be back. Quarterback can manage it. He knows how to run it. I think he's cut down on his mistakes as he's gone on. Altmaier, I had questions about him. I'll be the first one to say it. When you tell your coach, I question what kind of player you are.
Well, he's got to be willing.
Wrong.
He's got to be willing and capable of throwing downfield. Like, they got to create some explosives. Like, they're not an explosive outfit.
And you lost your biggest threat out. So
and Zachary Franklin, both two really good wideouts.
But you add Hudson Clement, maybe that helps a little bit.
He's got some vertical speed from West Virginia.
But unfortunately, I think I would have Michigan third. We'll continue the discussion next on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We'll continue the and/or through the rest of the show. Before we do that,
yeah, Cole and I both used them. It's been a terrific experience every single time. Crocker Boots are a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. They do an amazing job of hiring guys you can trust. You can keep them in your home. The whole home moved, packed up, things moved around your living room, whatever it may be. You can also do deliveries for furniture that you purchasing to get to your homes. Call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's crockermovingservices.com. That's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Service for your next move. There's going to be a team that you absolutely hate, and we're going to do it tomorrow.
Okay.
But we'll start it today. This or that. The USC Trojans or The Miami Hurricanes.
It's a great comp. It's a great back and forth. I actually think USC's offense has a chance to be great. Not good, great. Because what does Lincoln need? Quarterback that can make decisions and be accurate with the ball. Miami can do it. And I think he's got weapons. I think the offensive line will be okay. They got a really good offensive line coach that has done, I think, more with less at a lot of places. But they ain't as rugged as Miami. And Miami can get down and dirty in the trenches, both sides of the ball. I don't know what the hell Carson Beck's going to be there. I really don't. Because I wonder sometimes if he's a Shannon Dawson guy. And I don't just mean that from a talent perspective. I mean from like a makeup perspective.
Yeah.
And like, Shannon's going to be a shot play guy, right? He's air raid guy. So we know Carson can push it, but I just don't. I'd love to get your opinion tomorrow on where your level of confidence is that that's just going to work. But I know Miami's going to win on the offensive line, and I know Miami's going to win on the defensive line. And it might not be every snap, every game, but consistently they're going to be a problem there. And still good at running back, still good at receiver. I'll go Miami.
Spoiler alert. I think both teams will be in the playoff this year.
This is the first segment.